to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres and chase his dream in the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for him it's a breeze. The Mike Hardball Harge. What's going on, bro?
Man, I'm excited to have this debate. I know a lot of people got their opinions about that, and there's ways to break it down. Like they always say, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. You know what I'm talking about? So we'll break it all down. But let me talk about my man that sits across from me. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime Hall of Fame inductee, College Football Hall of Fame inductee, legendary Longhorn. Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study. He's not a fan of white condiments, but he is a fan of you, the listeners. My man and yours, Rod Babels.
I appreciate the intro. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. Got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid. We're certain that he's underpaid. Patrick Davis. How you doing, Patrick?
Doing good.
Patrick actually did the research on the really misleading saying that, there's plenty of ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that the origin, the genesis of it is plenty of ways to skin a catfish?
That's what I've been told. That is what I looked up, and it says is
because it is pretty sick when we start thinking about.
Yes.
True that.
Saying,
after I said it, I was like,
no, it is. Well, it always has been.
we need to put
saying that
catfish.
for decades.
Yeah, but there's
I don't know how
multiple
long.
ways to peel and debone and cook
Yes.
catfish.
Yes.
That it makes more sense
It
in
does
that.
make so much more sense. But why do we have to drop the fish? Why can't we just say catfish instead of saying cat?
I don't know.
What sicko
Yeah, exactly.
decided to shorten it and then popularize that part of the
That
song?
is
and then
the part
also,
about it. It's
and
a
then
sicko.
it's not peel of catfish. I mean, I guess it doesn't ring off the tongue if you say, "Hey, man, there's plenty of ways to peel a catfish."
Yeah, you're right. That's true. That's a good point. The visual really doesn't
Yeah,
fit.
right,
But I guess, you don't really peel catfish. If you know
Yeah.
anything about catfish.
I'm with you.
If you've gone noodling or hillbilly hand fishing for catfish, that's one of them things too. Yeah, you got to be swamp people to know about that.
there it is.
All
I
right,
have to make noodling illegal.
Noodling
Because they
is a
go,
thing.
"Why is noodling illegal?" And they go, "Sometimes when they go down, they don't come back up."
yeah, I mean it's a thing. Oh, trust me, I got family unfortunately that's into that.
It's in the noodling?
Yeah, I
Nice.
don't. That's not something I do or know how to do. But yeah, they stick their hands in holes.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Essentially.
Most fishermen refer to catfish as a cat.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Oh,
There
it's
you
because I
go.
gotta
Thank you,
say
fisherman.
things fast as fishing, because we all know fishing one of the fastest activities you can do. No time for using extra letters when you're fishing.
That's a good point. My man Dwight, all right, he's already on it. Okay, let
Of
me just
course,
give
of
Spec
course.
Sex Line 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Spec Sex Line. We appreciate your participation. You're the heartbeat of this thing. Dwight Rabbit already on it. We'll get deep into the discussion about and tell you what the origin, the kind of the genesis of this debate about Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott came from, because it was Trevon Diggs who originally kind of started this thing. It was a tweet by Pro Football Focus that originally threw out there a question, and then Trevon Diggs responded, and that's what ignited. Matter of fact, we talked about it at the end of the show yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
I saw it and I was like, "Oh, we definitely talking about this." Ain't no
you're
question
like, this
about
is
it.
going to be on the show
Yes,
tomorrow.
Yes. All right, so we'll get into that, of course, and talk about what's. But also, we're going to get to the NFL because all of the head coaching vacancies have been filled. So we got to. Well, I'm going to rank them. All right, so we'll rank them then at 4 o'clock, rank them, and also get into some of the other NFL stories, postseason now stories, sadly enough. Eric Bieniemy interviewing for an offensive coordinator job, and the Baltimore Ravens hiring Todd Monken. It's a story that we didn't have a chance to get to yesterday, and the Texans assembling their staff. Has it been crickets on the Dallas Cowboys staff?
Yeah, there was
Additions?
they were trying to make a little moves here and there, but
Since
it's not they're not earth shattering. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
just say
I'll,
that.
I'll do some deep diving on that, and then maybe we can get into that later on this week. We're also going to start talking NBA. So Mavs got a big matchup tonight, and they also worked out LaMarcus Aldridge. And there's some rumors that we'll get into it. We'll get into it when we talk NBA, because NBA rumors are always really fun. And the further NBAification of the NFL. We'll get into that as well because now some of the beef in the NFL has hit the Twitterverse and social media, and like the NBA, very salacious.
No, of course.
Salacious and petty, as my man Zay always brings up, that NBA guys are. So we'll get into
He's
that
the
too.
king of petty.
He's the king of, but he's a basketball guy.
Yeah, he's the king of petty.
Yeah, in basketball, it gets petty like that.
Yep.
All right, my man CB always give me some love. I appreciate it. He said Earl Thomas always said Rod had the best feed he'd ever seen. He did say that, and I believe I still have an audio clip of it. I pulled it.
There
I
it
got
is.
it. I think I got it.
There it
in my
is.
email somewhere. I was like, hey man, when he makes the Hall of Fame, I'm gonna be able to say, hey, you know that dude said I had the best feed he ever seen. Just saying. And I'm gonna clip my man Derek Johnson.
There you go. Yeah, for sure.
Clip that one. too.
He said it twice on the air.
Oh yeah, we gonna clip that one.
Yeah, he
We
said
gonna
it
get
twice
that.
on the air.
Need to put that in the portfolio.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, no. When he gets his, he's eligible in this next class.
Who, Derek Johnson?
Derek Johnson.
He's not gonna make the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he's gonna be the obviously Chiefs Hall of Fame. But I always said if he had played a little bit later, like 3 or 4 years later, because remember all of his All Pros and all of his Pro Bowls are like after he's like 29 or 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say Zach Thomas made it, so there's a chance.
Hey, no doubt. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Texas Tech fans out there that are about to give you the business on
It's
the next
okay.
text
Bring
line
it.
right now.
Because the truth be told,
No, it was
put them comparisons up there.
it was a very strange Hall of Fame road for him. Path. I'll admit that. I did the research
And I'm
on
a
it
fan
too.
of Zach Thomas.
I
so,
am too.
yeah.
I am too. I'm not hating
Yeah.
on that, but honestly, blame Patrick here. Nobody's even talking about this. Patrick threw a random shot at Zach Thomas, and we were supposed to be congratulating the guy about him making Hall of Fame. They're taking shots at the man.
I love
Come
it.
on,
I love
Patrick.
it.
Come on, it's not the way to start the show. Anyway, midweek movie music. We'll get into that too because that's where Patrick gives us the business pretty much for midweek movie music. Although lately, like I said, my man Harge has been.
I think it's going to be tough
He's
today.
been lucky and good.
Yeah.
Both. And you know what? It takes both.
I was going to say, you got to be lucky and good, bro.
You've been lucky and good.
Yes.
And you know what? It takes both.
Yeah,
You want
I'm
to
down
win it
with
all?
that.
You want to be like Patrick Mahomes? Hey, it's a little bit of luck in there.
Yep.
You could have ended up with the Texans.
There you go.
You ended up with Andy Reid.
Well,
and
then some of
Jesse
your
Keith.
coaches might still be there, though.
That is true.
You know, if he ended up there,
That's a
some
great
of these
point.
coaches might still be there.
That is fair. I don't disagree with that at all. Okay, let's start up this discussion here because I think it's one that's gonna get heated on the Specs text line 512-337-3776 for all you Cowboys fans. So it originally started with a tweet from Pro Football Focus. They threw out a tweet with a picture of Jalen Hurts saying Jalen Hurts is a top blank QB in the NFL. Trevon Diggs quote tweeted that tweet with 5. That's all. Just the number 5. That's it. So we're assuming, filling in the blank, he's saying Jalen Hurts is a top 5 QB in the NFL. I posed a question to you, Harge, a Cowboys fan, like, whoa, okay. If he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and he certainly had a hell of a year in the MVP conversation, and if he's a top 5 quarterback, does Trevon Diggs consider Dak Prescott to be a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, or does he have Jalen Hurts ranked ahead of Dak Prescott?
I would say this, and this is the one thing that
Are they both top 5? Sorry.
They
both top 5.
can possibly be both in his eyes because that's what if he was to be asked again, he could possibly be it. But here's where I would say this: do we go on 1 year? Do we go on a career? Are we saying at this time, this year, he came out and he became that quarterback? Last year, he was not. He was trending in the right direction. He got his team to the playoffs, but he wasn't a top 5 quarterback last year. Now, all of a sudden, it's how you like me now. He comes out and plays well. Now everybody wants to rank him as a top. I'm just not going to say everybody. I'm going to say Trayvon Diggs put that out there. The question was asked.
He put it out there. He didn't
No,
have
that's
to
what
do
I'm
that.
saying. He
He's a
didn't have
teammate.
to. Yeah, he
Like,
didn't
what-
have to. That's what I'm saying.
That's very salacious.
Trayvon put it out there, and then now everybody, we're going to talk about it, and I'm fine to talk about it. But it's always, what have you done for me lately in this league? A few years ago when Dak was having great years, putting up big numbers that we've talked about, everybody was like, oh, Dak, oh, he's got to be in the top 5, top 10, top 15. Now everybody's like, this dude sucks. This dude is terrible, man. Oh, my God. He got to win the big game. And maybe that is why people are looking at Jalen Hurts and saying, listen, I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. If you've been listening to the show, I've been saying it for a long time. I love the way that this guy goes about his business. He's one of the I'm going to put this out there right now. He will win one of those Walter Payton Man of the Year awards. I have no doubt in my mind that's the type of person Jalen Hurts is. But in today's football, it's easy for us to criticize Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, all these other quarterbacks that have had rough seasons at times where they hadn't played their best. Does that mean that he sucks? No. But as far as being a top 5, if we want to go by right now, absolutely. He played like that. He played in the Super Bowl. He should be represented as such. And right now, we can actually say he's a top 2 quarterback. But where is he going to be in a few years? I think his work ethic is one of a kind. He goes about his business. He works on the things to make himself a lot better. He would have been the MVP of the Super Bowl had his team won. He put up huge numbers. But I've also went and looked at the numbers by comparison. Right now, you can say, he's had a good year. He was just drafted, 2 years ago?
3 years ago.
So he's still trying to assimilate to the NFL. That is the difference. Because the same people that will build you up will chop you down next year. Let's not forget, he just lost all of his offensive coordinators. He just lost a lot of people on his team that was helping him get to that point. Let's see what he does next year. And by the way, I'm going to say I'm really going to pay attention to the growth of next year. Because now everybody's got film, everybody's seen their offense, and you know that the NFL is what, Rod? A copycat league, and these coaches adjust to certain styles of play. I'm all in for this. We can say he is that right now. All right, he had a great season. But these are the same people that were texting on the text line talking about Hurts as a system guy. This is a guy that doesn't even feel like he's going to be a great quarterback. He's even said there's a lot of haters that have been out there on me. So it's amazing to me how everybody decides they want to get amnesia when the dude was drafted and when he left, and now all of a sudden he's the best quarterback in the league. Again, I understand that Trayvon Diggs brought this to light because he said top 5, but he could have been saying right now. Doesn't mean that next year he's going to be a top 5 quarterback, because we've seen quarterbacks that where everybody thought was going to be this, and this, then all of a sudden they go down. It's just like saying that Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback. He didn't play like one.
Well,
I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying in general.
I know, but just for the sake of the conversation and the debate.
Is he better than Dak this year? Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no question.
No doubt.
And
no doubt.
Like you said, we don't have the sample size really for Jalen Hurts. All we see right now is the trajectory and the rate of development. No, Dak started off really hot too. I mean, he was a rookie. You know what I mean? Talking about rookie of the year.
He was rookie of the year.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like all these people,
off really hot.
They got amnesia.
I remember that. And then Dak had some inconsistency and some ups and downs, but played at a really high level.
Injuries.
So we've seen the peaks and the injuries too.
Yeah.
Which that also is something to be concerned about with Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts too. I said when he was drafted, I liked the draft pick. Most people hated the draft pick. And being drafted in the second round, I guess maybe there's an argument that he had a higher upside by at least scouts and analysts.
Right.
Thought he had a higher upside than Dak Prescott, who was drafted in the 4th round. And a little bit different in terms of the investment that the organization wanted to make in you. Doug Peterson, who drafted him, really, really liked Jalen Hurts. As I always tell you, basically, he's like Viagra. He was a happy accident. They didn't know Dak was going to be as great as he is. But that aside, the one thing I'm worried about with Jalen Hurts, because I think Jalen Hurts is going to continue to ascend. Man, he's I don't know if he's a responsible runner or not. That's a thing in the NFL. If you're going to be a dual-threat quarterback, and he's a true dual-threat quarterback, Dak is really not. Dak's now about functional mobility, if anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't utilize him in that way. With the way that Philadelphia uses Jalen Hurts, he is a true dual-threat quarterback.
Correct.
And one of the most dynamic statistically now in NFL history.
Especially close to the goal line.
But that's what I worry about.
And execution on the 4th downs and trying to get the yards.
That's part of his X-Man ability, because he's a power lifter and he's really powerful. And for him playing quarterback, in short yardage situations, that's easy money. But I do worry about the wear and tear of a guy that's going to be, just pounding it down in the goal line. We saw that from guys like Cam Newton. Hell, you saw it from guys who like to run like Andrew Luck. I mean, hell, we're seeing it from Lamar Jackson now.
Yep.
It adds up. It does. And that's why I always loved Russell Wilson's running style because he was a responsible runner. Never saw him really get hit cleanly.
Right.
He was always running away from contact. Baseball, getting out of bounds, sliding. I don't have a problem with dual threat quarterbacks. I love dual threat quarterbacks. I prefer them actually, but I prefer the ones who are responsible runners. VY.
Yep.
VY was a responsible runner. As big as VY was, huge target. You never saw him get hit cleanly.
He wasn't going to let you.
He wasn't going to let you.
That's
Nah, I
smart.
ain't about that. Nah,
Right.
I'm going to dodge that. I'm going to get skinny at the right time.
I'ma
getting
hit
out
the
of bounds.
sideline.
I'm going to use that angle, hitting the
Exactly.
sideline.
Exactly.
And some runners, got quarterbacks who are runners like that, they don't really operate in that capacity. Josh Allen. And I'm a little afraid for Josh Allen at times. Josh Allen loves
'Cause he
to
is
play bully
reckless.
ball. Yeah,
Yes.
he's reckless like that.
Yep.
And I don't like reckless, irresponsible runners at the quarterback position. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is that, but they use him in power running situations, in short yardage situations, which is a little concerning.
I.e. Tom Herman with Sam Ellinger.
Yeah, and I think you can evolve. His game obviously is still evolving, but that if you're looking at sample size over time, that would be a concern because that style is not sustainable necessarily for a quarterback all throughout his career, for a long career.
No doubt.
You
No
got to
doubt.
go and invest in.
And we saw it, and it was a accident as well. He fell the wrong way, and he landed on his AC joint, and then that's when he ended up having to sit out. But if he falls the other way, he's still probably playing. You know what I'm saying? So, but he wouldn't have run near as much because he knew he had the injury, which is what he did when he first came back. They didn't use him in the running game as much.
They didn't.
They were trying to, hey, grow your arm. Let's go. We're going to see that you can throw the ball. And what did you tell me? When he came back, his completion percentage went down. It wasn't as good as it once was.
Yeah.
He wasn't being as mobile in the pocket. So some of the things that we are talking about all play a part to the success and the failures of a quarterback. And when things are good, things are great. Like we said, when that Super Bowl performance, second to none. I mean, he was balling. He fumbled. If he doesn't fumble that ball, they're going in for another touchdown, as you said.
And it's a good chance they win the
They
game.
win the game.
They win that game.
And then he's the MVP, and the conversation gets even stronger, and we go on and on and on. But he did make a mistake. He has made mistakes. You talk about the fumbles. You talked about the interceptions. You talked about the improvement that he's made.
Yeah.
We've all seen it. But again, next year and the year after that is going to be a challenge because the game is going to change around him. The players are going to – the defensive schemes are going to be different. This year, 100%. Put them at the top. You can put them right next – they can be standing next together.
So
Here.
if I asked you right now who's the best quarterback in the NFC East, you say Jalen Hurts?
You have to.
Okay.
He took his team to the Super Bowl.
If I ask you what quarterback would you take over the next, 3 years?
I'm still staying with that.
Okay.
I'm staying with Dak because he's got a bigger sample size in the NFL.
Patrick,
He's played.
Next 3 years, which one you take? Dak or Jalen Hurts? Just the next. Who's going to have a better sample size over the next 3 years? Because if I go longer than that, then
Then it doesn't make sense.
because Dak's getting older, and then I'll make that argument. I'm just talking about just going. It's like even Dak right now, who's still close to his prime, pretty much as a quarterback, and Jalen Hurts, whose trajectory and rate of development has just been phenomenal. But don't forget, Dak started red hot, rookie of the year.
Thank you. And
I'm
kept winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I go Jalen Hurts just because I don't know where his ceiling is, and I feel like I know a lot closer where Dak's ceiling is.
Very fair.
So I feel you just go, look, Jalen Hurts we don't know where his floor is either. Right. So it may be a part where it's like, hey, man, he's going to start getting hurt every year because he's going to be running weird, and when he can't run anymore because he's hurt, that could all happen in the next 3 years. And we go, well, Dak knows what he's doing a little bit better, and he's going to, he may be able to stay in games a little bit better. And once, if he gets a different OC, maybe he fixes some of these problems and they put him in the right system. But if we know, hey, man, Dak needs a good system to work in, and Jalen Hurts, we think does, but maybe in the next 3 years his throwing gets better, he reads defenses better. I think we don't know where his ceiling is yet.
Yeah.
So that's why I would go with him, just because I'm like, we haven't seen him get close to touching it yet because we haven't seen him plateau at all, and we've definitely seen Dak plateau a bit more.
I think that is the concern, is that Dak has plateaued. Right now, I think I would go with Jalen Hurts for the next 3 years. That's going to have a better just a better sample size over that time span. But career-wise, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell because I'm sitting here looking at the numbers per game and rushing and for the career. Now, again, his is 2 years. Dak's 6 years had it on 7 years. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's a different
There- yeah.
range of emotion. Because if you were to put them side by side at the very beginning of their careers, you could say Dak was just as good as Jalen Hurts was.
Dak had a red hot start.
He had a very hot
To
start.
your point, unfortunately for quarterbacks, as my man Viwa always said, you get all the girls, you get all the grief. Winning is attributed to the QB position,
And it's all going to the losses
exactly.
too.
Yeah. So
exactly.
they're overly responsible, and it's probably not fair, perception wise, that the wins and the losses are on them. So they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Second year.
Yeah,
And that's better because they were the better organization more so than anything
Agreed.
else.
And we can also look at the fact that this season, the wide receiver core clearly goes to the Eagles. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, read out CeeDee Lamb,
Also
and
true.
whoever else they threw out there.
Like I said, organization.
Offensive line.
But
That's
like
your organization.
defense.
But
Well,
offensive
defense
lines
was
both
close.
played well and bad at point.
Yeah.
But I'll just go wide receivers of who you're throwing to. It's a clear win with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith over CeeDee Lamb, who was playing really well.
Yep.
But behind that,
Yeah,
there's not really a bunch
there's
there.
a huge drop off
So,
between your
so when
first
you
and
put
second
those
best.
two pieces together as well, you're going, well, now Jalen Hurts comes in and he's got one guy to throw to. And does he have the same relationship with Dalton Schultz where he's able to have even a check down guy? So there is other factors in it. But like to me, it's not so much the 1 through 5, it's the tier system of, all right, for me, there's 3 top guys that you go, these guys are guys that you can put on most teams and they will win. And that's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. Those guys right now sit atop where you're like, those guys are basically, teams are built around them to win, and they're winning. Once it drops off after that, you go into like the Justin Herbert where you're like, well, maybe he'll be that guy, but he hasn't been yet. And basically everyone, and then you have Jalen Hurts.
But he's got Kellen Moore now, so and the Newsmeyer. They got them both, so they got to change it, dog.
So once
yeah.
you get down, then it's like, okay, well, there's that of tons of potential, but we don't know yet. And you have Jalen Hurts, who it's like, well, man, look at what he's been able to fit perfectly in what they do. But again, we don't know when those things start to change. So, hey, man, now he gets a new contract. That O-line gets older, and they don't necessarily have the protection. They don't know if they're going to keep A.J. Brown anymore, and they only rented him for 2 or 3 years, and they move on from him. Is he able to keep improving enough to overcome those?
Yeah.
Because that's what Patrick Mahomes has done, and very few other people can.
I think also one of the things that's appealing about the Jalen Hurts story is that Jalen Hurts, we saw his off-season improvement. We were able to witness it real time.
Yep.
Right? We saw him his second year and went, okay, all right, he's definitely a more than serviceable starting quarterback in the NFL. Hell, they made the playoffs.
Right.
But nobody saw him having a ceiling like they do now, or projecting a ceiling like they do now. Even though he was a second-round pick, he didn't play like he could end up being a franchise quarterback at that time. And then in one offseason, a lot of improvements made. The A.J. Brown trade, they bring in more weapons for him, but he did transform his game. And with Dak, even though Dak had a red-hot start to his career, it was immediately, as a rookie of the year, he came in, just had a great start, which is awesome.
Yep.
But in terms of the way our sports brains operate, we like to see a kind of a linear progression of things. And I think it's satisfying for sports fans to go, damn, did you see that? I watched him, and when I watched him last year, I said, oh man, he's just going to be, a jabroni at quarterback. He'll start for a couple of years, and they'll move on. No way he's a franchise guy. And then this year you go, man, he's in the MVP conversation?
Yep.
And he is a guy that looks like he can be a franchise quarterback and perform like that in the Super Bowl. Watching it real time, I think, gives people a different reaction to what his projected trajectory could be for being a quarterback.
Right.
And for Dak, I think it was really high too, but nobody really expected Dak to be good, and he came in his rookie year. He was great, but it was just a surprise off the bat. And then after that, he became the franchise quarterback. Like I said, a happy accident for the most part. I think for Jalen Hurts, his story is a little bit different, whereas we watched him and nobody thought he had that type of ceiling. With Dak, too, that was the case, but it was like a shock factor with Dak. Yeah, more so than us watching it happen over an off season and watching the story, progress over time.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be able to debate this 4-time because they're in the same division, so we'll get to see them a lot and be able to break it down. And for me personally, I hope Jalen Hurts continues to ascend at the quarterback position, especially when you start looking at what we've been told over these years about the quarterback position, and that's never going to work in the NFL, and he needs to change and learn how to throw from the pocket and all this other stuff. And now he's gotten better, and now the ceiling looks so good because of the performance that he put in the Super Bowl. But again, let's not forget, let's go back to last year. They didn't expect him to be what he was, and he wasn't that great last year.
Well, it's hard to say they didn't expect it because Doug Peterson drafted him in the second round, and then they decided we're going with Jalen Hurts. Remember, they decided we're going with Jalen Hurts, and they made the playoffs.
Right. Oh, no doubt about it.
And that's when they decided, all right,
Cowboys did too.
But that's when they decided, all right, we're trading for A.J. Brown, and then we're going to put pieces around him. They're going to complement him. Then he did more with those pieces than Dak did with his pieces when Dak was surrounded by all that talent. At one time, Dak was surrounded by a ton of talent too. Remember that team was tailor-made for Tony Romo. That's why they made that offense. That's why they invested in the offensive line because he was so fragile. All right, they gave him all the weapons that he needed. Dak inherited a lot, and Dak didn't go to a Super Bowl with it. Now Jalen Hurts, he got a lot of weapons around him. He took it to the Super Bowl.
Dak played well in the game to go to the Super Bowl, to get to the championship game. And,
I agree with you.
And Aaron Rodgers made a play.
And I disagree with any of that.
Yeah.
The whole point is, it is what it is.
Yeah, no doubt.
One guy
No doubt.
Both have been surrounded by talent at one time, and Dak only gets so far.
Right. Oh, no doubt.
With Jalen Hurts,
it's frustrating.
Surrounded by
very
talent,
frustrating.
They got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then when he got to the Super Bowl, he played really well. So I think in the narrative, that's part of it too. It's like, well, when I saw Dak with a ton of talent, he played well, but they didn't win the Super Bowl.
No doubt.
I mean, or get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, didn't get to the championship.
Didn't
even get to the NFC championship
exactly.
game. And I agree with that.
That's why people are jumping off that bandwagon and jumping on the Hurts bandwagon.
Oh, and it's a great bandwagon to get on. But just like every celebrity that goes out and has success, they can't wait to bring you down. So I'm hoping that he continues the trend, just like I'm hoping Dak can rebound and get to the point of where the conversation will be even tighter. But let's just wait and see, because you still have that 7 years. There's 7 years. There's, 3 years in between each other, 4 years in between each other that he has to get to that point. So I'm with you. I think what he's done this year has been something to talk about for quite some time. But we've also seen quarterbacks do well, and then all of a sudden they hit their ceiling, kind of like what we're seeing with Dak.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's a good point. It's a good discussion to have. All right, I think we'll get back into that conversation at 5 o'clock. We come back. We got to talk NBA. Mavs working out LaMarcus Aldridge. They got a big matchup tonight with the Nuggets. Actually, all the Texas teams are in action. Yep. Rockets versus Thunder, Spurs versus Hornets. We'll talk some NBA on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? I know I'm a little sad. Football season is over, but you can still get the excitement and keep the excitement alive over at MyBookie, because there's still plenty of ways for you to bet and plenty of ways for you to win over at MyBookie. If you're tired of losing and using the same old, betting app and using the same old betting site, MyBookie gives you the most bang for your buck with their redesigned deposit bonus just in time for March Madness. That's right, March Madness is right on the horizon. And that's right, folks, you can win big over at MyBookie. Just use the promo code HORN, HORN, to receive a bonus instantly to your MyBookie account. That's the promo code HORN, HORN, to receive your bonus. There's no shortage of games to choose from at MyBookie, and everyone knows that playoffs equal points. It's the best time of the year to hammer the overs. With every player out there looking to make a name for themselves, you know the player props are also a great way for you to cash in. And cash in right now at MyBookie, because that's what everybody's doing with so many brands to choose from. You need a platform that makes it simple to bet and easy to win, like MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. My man Patrick takes songs from a soundtrack, plays certain selections for us on midweek movie music, and we're supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to exactly what the featured film is for midweek movie music. All right, Arch, you've soaked it in a little bit. You've digested it. What you got?
Nothing.
It's definitely
I've got nothing.
it's like a 90s feel, right? You got 90s feel here?
I mean, maybe a little bit before that.
Okay. I'm a little bit before the 90s. All right. So
What is
late
this?
80s here. Okay. All right. We got the second one always helps us out a little bit more, but
I got no clue.
There's a vibe, though. I think we're in a certain wheelhouse era-wise for this movie right now, but we'll see.
That
All
could
right.
be very true.
I'm thinking late 80s, early 90s vibe here. That's what I got. That's what I felt, but I
Okay.
could be wrong. It could
Okay.
just be something else. You know what I mean? We don't know what it is. All right. Well, the Spec Sex line wide open 512-337-3776. We'll get to some of your responses to the Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts discussion. But first, we got to get to some NBA talk because All-Star Weekend is this weekend.
I like it. I like it.
So we got to start transitioning and talking some NBA. And the Mavs have some really weird stuff going on. First of all, they worked out LaMarcus Aldridge,
Yeah, which is
37, which is weird, right?
Yeah. My man just said, I'm not playing no more, but since I'm in Dallas, I'm going to go over there and work out with these dudes.
He
man.
came out of retirement last year
Yep.
to play with Brooklyn, correct? He was
Yeah,
retired.
yes.
He retired then. He came
Yes.
out and actually wasn't terrible. I mean, he averaged almost 13 points per game, 5 rebounds. So he didn't play much, but they worked him out. There's been no update really on what the status is of that workout and the evaluation, but that was interesting. And this came after the last loss because they've lost actually their last 2 games. They've lost the last 2 games, but Luka and Kyrie Irving have played together.
When
Unfortunately.
Kyrie played by himself, they won the game.
Yes, yeah, he won his 2.
Yeah.
He's been there 4 games. He played by himself for the first 2. They won,
Yep.
and playing when he and Luka, they lost. But obviously, it's going to take them a little while.
Yeah,
chemistry and everything.
and watching those games,
'Cause they're scoring.
especially down the stretch, because they've been in the games. But if you watch them down the stretch, like they need to figure out that last 2-minute offense, because Luka is very much he's still in Luka mindset,
That was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
and he just one of them was he gets in trouble and kicks the ball out, but you're like you need to be on the same side as Kyrie, so you can kick the ball out to Kyrie, and they can't guard both of you.
Right.
You had one of your other players out there who's not a big time shooter. And it's like you got to have a shooter that's in that corner if you're going to drive that way, or else it doesn't make sense to get a Kyrie Irving or even if that was a Reggie Bullock. But stuff like that where it's just like, look, the whole point is so you can play off of each other.
Yeah.
And if you're just going to still try and play hero ball when the other guy can help get you open, that'll be things you work on.
And that last supposed game-winning possession or potential game-winning shot possession for them where they get the last shot in that Minnesota game, and they didn't even get a shot off because
Right.
Luka and Kyrie were, I guess, both trying to be unselfish.
Yeah.
And neither one of them got a shot off because they were both trying to help out each other to get the last shot. That stuff that'll be cleared up because that's
For
just
sure.
chemistry with each other.
But what did I say was going to happen at the very beginning? It was like they are both going to be like, I want to shoot it, but I don't want to be that guy. So I brought in my Batman and Robin. This is our team now. And I finally got some help, Luka. Oh, Kyrie, I'm going to a team where a guy is not afraid to take the last shot. All right, we got it. Now both of them are like, you want it? I got it. You got it? You got it. No, I got it. And then they walk off and like, man, I was trying to get the – no, it just happened that way, man.
And
like
nobody
you
took the
said,
shot.
it's gonna figure itself out.
That is true. But, I mean, Kyrie had 36 points. He had 26 of those in the fourth quarter of that game
quarter,
versus
26
Minnesota. And, he's been scoring. He's been lighting it up, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, even in that game, the last loss prior to the Minnesota one versus Sacramento, as Patrick mentioned, another close one. That was in overtime. I mean, he still was lighting. He had 52% from the field, had 28 points.
Yeah.
He's been playing really, real offensively. And as you mentioned, in that game where him and Luka lit it up, I believe they scored 69 points together.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, 69 points total together. So it's it's too potent of a, you got too potent really force multipliers on the court. So yeah, I think they'll figure out a way that the chemistry won't end up being an issue.
Right.
But this is interesting. We always talked about, at least since this trade happened, we talked about the defense potentially for the Mavs being a liability now because they traded away some of their best defensive pieces, and also they haven't been the same defensive team they were last year, and bringing in Kyrie Irving's not going to help that. So after they lost to Minnesota, and by the way, if you want to look at the offensive rating for Minnesota, it was 131 in that game, and the Sacramento had a 126 offensive rating versus the Mavs. Hell, the Denver Nuggets, who the Mavs are going to play tonight, they lead the NBA in offensive rating with 118.
Well, and so they got a big man who is going to eat all game.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's a good point.
Because Jokic can just sit in there and eat because they just don't have the inside defense.
Because Gobert killed him.
Yeah, I mean,
think about it, man.
Like, first of all, I know Harge is a big Dwight Powell fan.
Huge
Dwight
Powell.
But he hasn't been playing at level. I know Maxi Kleber is a guy they want to get back, and he can help out a little in there. But one of the big problems they have right now is Dwight Powell and JaVale McGee are both guys that are supposed to be defenders, but they can't spread the court on offense. And both Kyrie and Luka are guys that like to drive and kick the ball back out.
Yeah.
So they'll play well with each other because if you drive and kick the ball back out, both those guys can shoot threes at a really high clip. The problem is you have to have a center that can get far enough away so that they can't just post underneath and the defender gets in there and basically stops you from really making a progress and getting points in the paint. They need to find that guy. They haven't really. Christian Wood doesn't play good enough defense to be that guy, so he has to play more of the four. That's really where they're struggling right now, is figuring out spacing on offense and any sort of rim protection, which I think that's why they're trying to bring in Aldridge to be like, hey, man, can you just stand in the paint with your hands up on defense
Right.
and like give us a few fouls and then step out, and you later in your career have shot a little bit better from outside, so have you at least be 16, 17 feet away from the bucket and an offensive threat.
No, because I said Gobert was 9 of 9. Like they had scored 40. Yeah. They had 40 points in the paint.
But if you're going against possibly the best player in basketball the last 3 seasons.
So
and and one that is so pedestrian about it. They asked him after the game. They're like, "Hey, do you know you're averaging a triple-double so far?" And he goes, "Ooh." Like that dude does not care. He's like, "I want to go win a championship. I don't really care about any of this." Like, great, it's great.
Yeah, so, and the Mavs will have that. Sorry, the Mavs will play them tonight, actually.
So check this out. I'm a big fan of Dwight Powell.
Huge fan.
So somebody that is a friend of mine.
He's being sarcastic.
And he texts me the other night, and he goes, dude, what does Dwight Powell have on Jason Kidd? Because there's no way he should be playing this much. Because they feel like you've been saying. Like, what? You're just out there. And I'm like, how are you starting every single game? And it's kind of like the conversation that we've had about the University of Texas. Why is that guy starting? Why aren't they moving in? It's because of the routine. I understand that. But what does he give you? Like, honestly, what does he give you every single game?
He's a decent rebounder, but that's basically they just don't have bodies in the paint. I think once Maxi Kleber comes back, you'll see him take a lot of those minutes where they'll try and have him kind of play in the paint and on defense and have him and Christian Wood as two guys that can go sit out on the three-point
And Kleber can shoot a shot, too.
But that's what I'm saying. So then if you say you got Christian Wood, Kleber, Bullock, Kyrie, and Luka, that's a lineup that can spread all on the three-point line.
Yep.
And then one of those guys drive in, and you can't really guard it very easily when they start trying to attack the paint. Now, defensively, that's going to be a problem, but they at least have 5 guys in that lineup who can shoot.
Right. Yeah, at least but apparently Jason Kidd has stated they don't care about defense anymore. This is sound audio of Jason Kidd after the Minnesota Timberwolves game. I thought he was joking, actually. And Patrick, you've watched the sound too. It seems like he's playing it pretty straight. Like I said, I don't think he's being sarcastic here. It just sounds
weird.
It's a weird piece of audio. So here's Jason Kidd when he's being asked about their lack of defense in the last few games and their lack of interior defense versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. No, that's true. They were down 26 points in that game. 18, they were down 18 when they going into the fourth quarter, and that's when Kyrie Irving had a 26-point fourth quarter in that game. So, like I said, maybe that's half sarcasm, half truth. I don't know. But he knows that they can score. They really can. They're going to be in every game because they can score with damn near anybody. But I don't know if they can stop anybody either.
What has happened to Jason Kidd, man? What has happened for him to go in there and say, we just got to try to outscore everybody? It's like, I get that, but you can stop them to help stop them from scoring. You can still outscore them. I know nobody wants to see 80-80, but I don't want to see 145 to 140.
But isn't he agreeing with you that basically Dwight Powell can't get it done? So he's like, you know what, we just gonna try to outscore people. He said we're going small. I don't know what that means for them, but
then if you want to go small, keep him on the bench and put somebody else in there.
I mean, Dwight Powell played 14 minutes against the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
JaVale McGee played 2.
Yeah,
they had
went
centers
small
in that game for 16 minutes of a game. They had a center in that game.
Yeah, so they're agreeing with you.
So they're going small, but you cannot play a season
Like that.
with under half of a game played with a center. Like, you have to
It's
at least
amazing to me
because
that this
there's
is
just
the NBA that we're watching now.
but I think he's agreeing with you, though.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
we got no center, so why am I going to bang my head against that brick wall and keep that guy out there? So that's why I think Patrick
and
is
that's
saying.
the thing is, I think he just looks at how the team built, and he was like, Dorian Finney-Smith was like my last hope of a wing that would at least try and get in there and play in the post when I went small, and you got rid of him. So it's like, I don't have anybody who can sit in the post and go take a charge, will sit in there and put their body on the line. You got me a lot. Josh Green, man, he's a lot of fun to watch. Jaden Hardy, man, there's a lot of potential in those guys. They're shooting guards.
Yep.
No junkyard dogs.
No
defenders.
and
nobody
so-
that cares to play defense.
Yeah, no defense. Yeah.
You should have went and got Patrick Beverly because he'll go out there and fight. He'll fight somebody.
No, he gonna fight Luka Doncic 3 games into the
Luka be
season.
trying to leave.
No, I mean you have to find one of these bigs in the buyout market, and you're hoping someone else gets put out there. But I mean, you really should have been in the market. You should have gone, like, you really should have tried to get Jakob Poeltl. Like, I don't know why you weren't going, hey, man, we'll take 4 first. Go get this guy. Because it's a huge difference if you had one guy in there who could do something. Jakob Poeltl goes to Toronto, scores 30 points on 85% shooting.
Right.
Like, there's guys that were out there at the trade deadline that you could have gone and made a move for. They didn't do it. You didn't get a Jay Crowder who would have been someone else. They're relying completely on Maxi Kleber coming back now and being a guy who can play 30 minutes a game in that 5 spots, because we know Christian Wood's not going to play the defense.
No.
So if we say Christian Wood is the other guy who could do it, and he's not going to, we know Dwight Powell and JaVale McGee just don't fit in this offense, so they can't really be there on the defense as well because they're just standing there. You have to put somebody in there. Somebody has to play the 5-hole. Somebody does.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. It's so that's really kind of this roster limitation for the Dallas Mavs right now, and maybe they can do something about it. All right, we'll come back. We got the flex on the other side right here on Baltimore Loud 104 on the Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's my man Patrick plays jams from a certain soundtrack, and based on those selections, we're supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to whatever the featured film is for midweek movie music. All right, Arch. I do feel I still late 80s vibes to this thing.
This seems like a like Breakfast Club type movie back in the day.
I like that.
Where they have the different soundtracks in there.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. Mm-hmm. Is he warm?
It's not like summer school or anything like that.
No,
Wow.
but you're around the right era.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Right about the era here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Midweek movie music continues. You can also go to flxatx.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. As a matter of fact, Harji, you told me one of my favorite players here in Central Texas, a young DB, he's getting some love actually from a school right here in the great state of Texas.
Yeah. Team that we've been upset about here lately because of some of the things that they just did to the Texas basketball team. It's them and the Texas football team. They got that smoke from them too.
And you were wearing a lot of the colors yesterday.
It was for the love. It was for love. I wore that color for love. But the Texas Tech Red Raiders have top target Pflugerville Weiss's defensive back Peyton Morgan, somebody that you have enjoyed watching him play. He's going to make a visit up to Lubbock for junior days. So they are reaching out. He's one of your favorite types of DBs, long and very aggressive on that side of the ball. So he's somebody that's a 4-star DB right now, and he's getting a lot of love from a bunch of schools, but he's going to be headed to Texas Tech for junior day.
Yeah. No, he's a really good player. I did a lot of film watching those guys. Actually went out to see one of his games this past season, too. Ended up getting interception when I was there. Got a chance to meet Mama.
There you go.
And Pops is a coach there, I believe, as well. I believe it's wide receivers, if I'm not mistaken.
I wonder why he plays on both sides of the ball.
That makes sense. But it's a nice little nugget there, so congrats to him. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into ranking NFL head coaching hires. All the vacancies have been filled. We'll also talk about Eric Bieniemy. He is he's interviewing with an NFL team. We'll talk about whether he is going to stay put in Kansas City or whether he is going to move on to greener pastures. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. All right, Patrick felt bad for us. He gave us an easy one, and as soon as Harge heard it, it immediately came to his head. Footloose is the featured movie of Midweek Movie
Footloose
Music.
came out 38 years ago Friday.
There you go. That's nice. I like that. I'm a big fan.
Yep.
I think I've seen Footloose, I don't know, maybe twice, something like that.
You didn't see the new Footloose, right? They made a remake of it.
Nah, I saw the Kevin Bacon one. That's the one, the old school one. Yeah. I love the premise of Footloose. Is basically like that. Was it the preacher that he's just against dancing?
Yeah,
dancing,
it's
dancing
one of those
leads you
movies-
down the path to the devil.
You can't, like, this should explain why we need more movies made that are original scripts, because it's a good movie.
It is.
It's a
an
good movie,
entertaining
and the pitch of it seems insane. Because like, no, we're gonna do this, and the guy he has to dance.
He has to dance.
No, he's a rebel from another school, from out of
gotta
town,
dance.
and rebels in other states have to dance. And then what's the big climactic scene? Like it's a big fight or something? No. There's a really graphic domestic violence scene earlier in the movie, but the big climax is he's just in a warehouse dancing by himself.
Dancing, baby.
That is
Just letting it all hang out. Yeah. And then there's a reverend who's so against dancing.
John Lithgow.
The Reverend Shaw. Yes, he is just vehemently opposed to this dancing. And it's just something that is just against all of his moral fiber and being.
Yep.
He must stop this dancing. It's like, this dancing is going to ruin the town.
The dancing must stop. Bunch of heathens
I don't know
out there.
how they pitched it, but you know what? Cocaine is a hell of a drug. And
I'm just saying,
during the 80s, there was a lot of cocaine
you
going
gotta
around.
remake-
That's why you get movies like Weird Science.
Yeah.
And it's Back to the Future. Back to
it's
the
like-
Future was pitched like 60 times. And it took a lot of cocaine in the media. It was like, hell yeah, this sounds like an awesome movie. And it was.
That's what we do.
No,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Is like now they just remake other movies. Like, look at this. This seems like the dumbest idea possible.
It does.
And we're still talking about the movie close to 40 years later. Just make some weird movies and see if they hit or not.
No, the 80s, there's no decade with weirder movies than the 80s. And then this is an 80s movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like late 80s?
1984.
Yeah, it was early 80s, actually. Yeah. No, the 80s was just, I think cocaine fueled a lot of it. It was just a weird, strange decade for movies. So you go look at some of those 80s movies, and we love them, but those ideas were far out there. They were wild, man. Wild ideas for the 80s movies.
I love Weird Science, though.
Weird Science is, I love it too.
Yeah,
It's
I love the way
It's
Weird Science is
fantastic,
made.
But it's just a lot of those strange movies, like Howard the Duck.
Yeah. Howard the
Howard
Duck.
the
Remember
Duck.
Howard the Duck?
Yes.
That's
Was
bestiality,
Weekend
man.
at Bernie's 80s?
Weekend at Bernie's.
Where
Yeah.
they were like, you know what? Nothing's more hilarious than a corpse. Let's do it.
Exactly. They had to pitch that to somebody. They were like, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
This
good.
will work.
Give 'em some money.
Somebody will
what was,
definitely do it.
Oh, they made Soul Man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Soul Man.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
That was, yeah.
That one don't get played on TV much anymore, does it?
Man. Oh.
No, that's not one I'm looking at in the middle of the night. That's not one that just pops up.
That one
in
don't
the
get on
middle of the
BET
night.
very often.
No.
I forgot all about that one. That's, you
They
know what?
wanted you to, Rod.
We not
They
yet.
wanted you to.
Mission accomplished. We all trying to forget Soul Man.
Exactly.
Google it, I guess, if you don't know it. All right, let's get to some. I want to rank the NFL head coaching hires. That's what I want to get to here in this segment, and maybe that Eric Bieniemy news too. So. First, let's start the Eric Bieniemy news, and then we can work our way to that ranking the head coaching hires. But Eric Bieniemy is interviewing with Washington reportedly, and Albert Breer believes he is the front runner and almost is his job to lose.
Yep.
Essentially. You thought, Harsh, that it was a good chance he could end up leaving to go to Washington. You said that yesterday. I don't know if you said it on air, but you definitely said it to me. I've said it for years. Eric Bieniemy's got to get the hell away from Kansas City. He's got to. It's not his fault. It is unfair. But if you're teaching your kids that life is fair, you're doing them a disservice. It ain't fair because Andy Reid has said he calls plays there, and hell, he's got two. He coached against two coordinators in the Super Bowl, outcoached both of them. And both of them got jobs.
I'm so glad you brought that up, my brother.
Outcoached both of them.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
But the perception is it's not him calling those plays, and he's not contributing enough to the offense to call it, to have ownership of it, whatever. But even though Andy Reid has stated, no, he's calling plays. He has. But we you know this is BS gospel. We've seen teams promote coordinators to head coaching roles who don't even call plays.
Thank you. Thank you. So the narrative is so bad. It's like they're sitting there lying to our face about him being hired and not being hired, as opposed to you just saw 2 coordinators get hired that were not calling plays themselves. Because isn't Nick Sirianni play caller too? He's an offensive-minded guy.
He allowed Shane Steichen to call him now. Yeah, he did last year, but he let Shane Steichen call him this year, I believe.
And it happens time and time and time again.
Yeah, it does.
So they need to stop the narrative of, oh, this is what we're out there with, so we're going to go ahead and just keep running with that narrative. It's time to stop it and just say there's something about the way that he carries himself, or just go
maybe
out
it's a
there
bad
and say,
interviewer. We don't know.
Right.
Bad interview.
Maybe you could bring up, oh, it's about his past, or it's something. But quit giving us the stuff about, well, we don't even know if he really calls the plays. You know, he's under Andy Reid. And it's like, there are coordinators after coordinators after coordinators after coordinators that are getting head coaching jobs when we all know that they are not better than Eric Bieniemy when it comes to the offensive game. To your point, everybody that's getting new jobs, he's beaten. He's been to the Super Bowl even more times, regardless if it's Andy, regardless if it's Pat Mahomes. He still has a piece in that, and he's been a part of championship teams. Isn't that what you want to look for?
It is, but he has to leave Andy Reid.
Agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
I agree with everything you said, but he's got to leave Andy Reid. We all know this. Even Andy Reid now is hinting at it. He's got to go.
The other part of it, too, is, man, even if he wasn't calling plays, don't you at some point want to go like, hey, man, can we get anyone from that Kansas City team to get some of that culture and some of that Andy Reid magic where we're at? Because they seem to have it figured out. And if we can get someone who is a major part of that organization to come to our team and help tell us, man, how do y'all scout? How are y'all setting up game plan? How are you doing all these things? Because clearly you're doing it in a way that works.
Yeah.
Even if you want to take away play calling, seems like you'd want to at least interview him. You'd maybe want to go, hey, I know Steve Spagnuolo is a little bit older and he may not be the hot name anymore, but he put together a good defensive game plan against the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Magnificent.
So it's like, I may want to talk to him.
That's the other part. They make adjustments.
Yeah, and Spags was a coach before.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you're right. He should get another look.
I just say I would at least interview them. As you've talked about before, Rod, why would I not want to at least talk to you to say, hey, tell me what y'all are doing?
I agree. Right. I would interview Lou Anarumo all the time. Like, what the hell are you doing? Because
that's the defensive coordinator that they should have got at the Cardinals. That's the guy that they should have got.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think you might be. Yeah,
they should have brought him in, and then you can also bring in Eric Bieniemy as your offensive coordinator right there.
He was one of the finalists,
right?
I believe for that Arizona job.
That's who you should have picked up.
And they ended up going with what they thought Jonathan Gannon was the better name, but. I'm with you. I've watched Lou Anarumo's defense and Jonathan Gannon's defense, and I think Lou Anarumo has done a better job than Jonathan Gannon.
With less.
It's a good point. You can make that argument too. All right, before we get to that conversation, I think it's a good one about ranking the NFL head coaching hires. Eric Bieniemy. So he's been in what I call the friend zone of NFL head coaches. He just can't seem to break through. Nobody will really give him a chance. He's got to leave Andy Reid, become an offensive coordinator elsewhere. We all know that to really show everybody he's calling plays, to show his contributions and creativity. Is Washington the best spot? Is there a possible another location where he can make that same sideways step and it'd be a better opportunity? Like
I thought it would be perfect for him to go to either Baltimore,
who just hired Todd Monken.
Right.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been the spot because you got a quarterback that's established that can go out there and execute whatever.
They didn't even interview him.
Right.
That was weird. I thought they should have at least interviewed. Todd Monken would have waited.
Right.
Todd Monken wasn't going nowhere.
Right. And then I also looked at Arizona. I thought about it with Kyler, but you don't know what the other quarterback situation is going to be. And if you can go out there with maybe Colt McCoy or whoever else is going to start the season as the quarterback, then possibly you can move in that direction. And you could go out there and say, look what I did with this group. Yep. Look at this group that I brought together. But I to your point, if he goes to the not Carolina Panthers, but the Washington Commanders, that makes me nervous too. That makes me nervous too.
I agree with that. It makes me a little nervous. What if they could go get Derek Carr?
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Do they make a move to go get a quarterback like that?
Go get Derek Carr and go get Eric Bieniemy. Go get both of them.
Yeah.
That'd be a splash. That'd be a hell of a splash.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm with and Eric Bieniemy. I think something else about bringing him in to make that sideways step as an offensive play caller, he's only going to use that next opportunity as a stepping stone. Like, he doesn't want to be there long.
Right.
He's going to be there 1-2 years, prove to everybody, oh, it was him actually calling plays for Kansas City, and then he's going to try to go get a head coaching job, which he deserves. But I think that for a head coach to bring him in, you're probably a little leery of that, because you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Just because it's a stopgap, temporary solution.
Yeah. But you still need to win. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and you
you're
want to
right.
win. So even if it is a stopgap and you want to do whatever, you still need to win games, because that's the part of the NFL that I always kind of take a step back with, is because everybody tells us that they want to win, but do they really? Do they really want to win? There's some acquisitions that you need to make to show your fans that you truly want to win. Or is it more like, let's just go ahead and play the season and we'll adjust after that? Oh, let's just make the playoffs. No, you want to win championships. And how do you do it? You start building with it. That's exactly what you were talking about when the Philadelphia Eagles, they said, you know what? I want to strike while the iron is hot. Let's go get A.J. Brown right now. Make a move. And now they're going to be rebuilding, so to speak, with their internalness, because they have new coaches to fill out. I think Eric Bieniemy is somebody that you can definitely win with, and you can win with fast, because he's going to make your offense that much better.
We'll see. I think he's going to end up leaving Andy Reid. I think it's a wise decision for him. He has to. And I hope he chooses.
Didn't you say yesterday, if I'm Andy Reid, I'm just going to say, hey, man, I'm not giving you a contract this year.
Yeah,
you got to go, man.
To do what's best for him, I'm not renewing your deal, man.
Yep.
I think he signs 1-year deals, I believe.
Yep.
I'm like, man, I'm not renewing your deal. Go somewhere else and
spread your wings.
Prove to all these people out there that you can do it. And if you fail, I'll hire you. I'll hire you back.
Yep.
Because you work well here. Go somewhere. And if you fail, to say, don't worry, like, oh, man, what if I fail? And then I got to go back to being a running back coach. Like, no, we'll hire you right back here to be our OC because it works here. You're good.
Try to go that mentality of, what if it works?
I know.
That's what we got to go with.
You shouldn't have that, but right. I agree.
Yeah.
When you bet on yourself,
that's right.
Basically, you should plan on success.
Yep.
Plan on being successful, and I hope I want to watch it too, because I do want to see his offense, because I do think he's been a key contributor for what they've done there in Kansas City. All right, so Eric Bieniemy, he is looking at going to potentially to the Washington Commanders to be their offensive play caller and coordinator. Todd Monken is officially the OC and play caller for the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be interesting, because we don't know what's happening with Lamar Jackson just yet. Yeah. So we'll see about that story as the quarterback carousel continues for the NFL offseason. All right, let's talk about the NFL hires and all the vacancies have been filled. And I want you guys to give me I guess we should rank them all individually.
Okay.
There are 5 of them. I'll start, if you will. I guess I can start, and then you guys can give me your thoughts on where you rank them. I have the Jonathan Gannon to Arizona hire as my 5th. So basically the lowest ranked. That's of the hires. I'm with you. I literally have in my notes Lou Anarumo.
Right.
Like, I was like, I probably would have given him a shot. Him and Jonathan Gannon, there's not that much separation between those two, in my opinion.
Thank you.
One's got a ton of NFL experience. One guy doesn't, but they've had really successful defenses recently with the kind of modern-day concepts of the NFL. And, hell, one guy knows how to stop Patrick Mahomes. Not stop, but he's done the best job defending Patrick Mahomes in the league. Yeah. And Andy Reid, I'll take that guy.
Right.
I'll take that guy.
Well, he knows that, and he probably has a few good ideas of how to slow down Joe Burrow.
Oh, also true?
So if you're saying those are 2 guys that we're expecting to be in the AFC Championship game many times for years to come, I'd say that guy right now has the best track record against one and probably knows the most inside intel on the other.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I said, and I'm not nothing against Jonathan Gannon, but I'm just saying if we're comparing the two, I think Lou Anarumo has just as impressive a resume recently, and I like that he has a ton of NFL experience.
Ding ding.
But but sometimes we go into these interviews, they're looking for leaders of men.
Yep.
So they like the way what is his bravado? How does he carry himself? Can he speak to the team, and can he inspire a team? Can he give those motivational speeches? Sometimes that matters. They don't like coaches who are soft-spoken, that kind of stuff. So it could be a lot of other variables and factors.
Yep.
But I would have went with Lou Anarumo potentially.
Yep.
Number 4, I got the Shane Steichen hire to Indianapolis. And I like that. I like that Indy brought in an offensive guy to kind of help them because they had with Frank Reich, they had so much quarterback instability, so much quarterback turnover. I believe the plan with Shane Steichen, they already talked about this, is to identify a franchise quarterback in the draft, a young one, and just build around that guy. The mistake that Frank Reich made, it was that he did not do that in his 5 years there with the Colts. DeMeco Ryans, I have as my third favorite hire to Houston. I got Frank Reich to Carolina as number 2. I think Frank Reich's a good coach. I just think the mistake that he made was not having his quarterback. He's basically got a quarterback insecure coach with a quarterback insecure organization. They got to figure that out. But I think Frank Reich is actually a good coach, and he's been there and done it. Already made the playoffs twice with multiple different quarterbacks, and probably should have made it a third time if not for Carson Wentz losing to Jacksonville in that last game. So I like that hire, and then the hire I like the most is Sean Payton to Denver. I mean, Sean Payton's he's the real deal, and now how he's going to work with Russell Wilson, I just have faith that Sean Payton's going to find a way to make it work. He's a problem solver, and that's what coaches need to be.
No doubt. And out of those 5, the only thing that I would switch is Frank Reich and DeMeco Ryan. Okay. I would have DeMeco as number 2 and Frank Reich as number 3. Obviously, I'm a big fan of DeMeco. I think he's got his work cut out for him, but I think he's up for the challenge, and he's surrounding himself with some good coaches. Sean Payton, what he's got in Denver and what he can turn around, that's going to be the biggest question. Is he going to be able to resurrect Russell Wilson's career? And that's going to be the biggest challenge for him. And Frank Reich, I mean, you said it, he's had a different quarterback every single year that he's been there, and that just goes to show you to the instability of the Colts organization, which now they're going to even have another starting quarterback for opening day. For consecutive years since Andrew Luck retired, they've had a different starting quarterback every year since he retired.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Opening day.
Yeah, that's insanity.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, that is organizational malpractice, if you will.
For sure.
I think Frank Reich's a good coach, but he's got to figure out the quarterback position. But I think they got an organization that needs to figure out quarterback and a coach that needs to figure out quarterback who's a quarterback guy. I figure they're going to prioritize that. That's why I like the hire. But I also say the Panthers, man, they hired Jim Caldwell.
Yep, and I love that. I love that.
That's the guy.
He's another guy that should have been.
The Texans should have hired. They need a guy like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that hire.
Yep.
And I agree with you, Harge. I put DeMeco Ryans over Frank Reich. And look, I think he can win it back, but right now, the last year and a half, Frank Reich looked like he had checked out.
Yep.
Yeah,
so I want to see him actually care about football again.
Yeah.
So he is a good coach. I don't know if he's a Super Bowl coach.
Yeah.
And we don't know DeMeco Ryans. And so I'll take a shot on a guy that we don't know his ceiling. I think we've seen pretty close to Frank Reich's ceiling.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, man, he's a good coach, but you're going to have to fire him if you get good because I don't think he's going to get you that next step. Like, he doesn't – and that's a weird team, right? Like, everything about Carolina right now seems like it could go so bad.
Right.
Or it could be like, all right, you could win the NFC South for the next couple of years while they all rebuild.
Exactly. The NFC South is very winnable.
But it's like but they have talent. Just that whole situation seems weird because they're very much sitting on just being good but not trying to be great. And I think the Frank Reich hired plays into that. Hey man, let's try and be like the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? We'll just be safe
in the middle.
Yeah.
And we'll trade away Christian McCaffrey, but we won't trade away DJ Moore. We won't trade away. We're not going to full rebuild. We're just going to kind of sit and hope.
We'll never rebuild and we'll never go all in.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's kind of where it sits. Where you're like, I would have liked to seen you with a new owner and a lot of money, try and do a little bit more. But if it works out, you're in a division where you can win this division a few years in a row.
That's a good point. I do wonder about Frank Reich if the ownership started to weigh on him. Because Harge brought that up yesterday. And I wonder if he's one of those owners that
he's always meddling.
Yes. So,
he's Jerry. Going back to your point.
Yeah.
That's Jera.
He does have some Jerry tendencies. He does.
And they always want to fight each other. You know what I'm saying? They're always arguing with each other.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, because they're so much alike.
Yeah, they're very much so. I think I'm looking in a mirror.
All right, Patrick, I don't think we got your rankings. Did you want to rank those?
Yeah, I'm with you as well.
So
I mean, I may put Steichen in 5th and Gannon at 4th just because he Coach plays for the Chargers too, and I hate that team. Like that team should be so much better. Like it's just like when he did good with the Eagles this year, I'll give him credit there. But
it was fantastic.
Like it seems that one is. It only makes sense to me in the fact that they went, well, we built our offense around this Nick Sirianni, Frank Reich offense, and then you went with Sirianni, so you understand that what we constructed as a team model, we don't have to go rebuild our roster.
Yeah.
Because we have the guys. That's the
That
only
makes
reason it
sense.
makes sense is
That's a good
some
point.
level of consistency.
That's a good point.
But other than that, the guy himself doesn't strike me as anything of like,
Yeah.
that's one where I'm like, if you want an offensive, go get Eric Bieniemy. Go get a guy who can do something fun and use your guys. But again, it's just one of those hires. It's not exciting. So I like exciting hires more.
Yeah, it's a good point. Sometimes you want the splash hire, at least the fans do. All right, what you got coming up for the people on Hard Knock Life?
A lot of people have reported to spring training. I want to talk about the Texas Rangers and, of course, the Houston Astros. And we're going to talk a little bit about that right there.
All right, we come back. We'll get into a little baseball with my man Hardball right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
Welcome back to the midweek movie theme edition of Ball Don't Lie. The movie this week was Footloose. Footloose. Everybody get loose because we're footloose. It's your boy Hardball Hard. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Hard. You can follow my man Rod Babers at Rod Babers. You can follow the man behind the glass that's in charge of all of our weekly themes is my man Patrick Davis. You can follow him at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show. Hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. I know there's been a lot of discussion about the Dallas Cowboys and, of course, the debate between Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. Y'all all have voiced that opinion. We also know about the court hearing today that got dismissed on Chris Beard. We're going to get into that a little bit later. We'll talk a little bit about that here in just a little bit. But right now, I want to talk a little bit about spring training. Spring training pitchers and catchers have reported, obviously, being in the state of Texas. We talk a lot about the Texas Rangers and, of course, my man Rod Babers, Houston Astros.
Go Astros!
We will get into that as well. But as we sit today, and everybody has optimism. Everybody thinks this is the year for my team. We've made a lot of acquisitions in the offseason, and now this is it. And then reality sets in probably two months into the season. You got to deal with injuries. You got to deal with all these different situations, and then you go, well, man, I can't wait for football season to start because that's what everybody's thinking about.
Right.
But I want to talk about obviously the Texas Rangers, what they did this offseason. They made a lot of pitching moves and brought in Jacob deGrom. Nathan Eovaldi came in as well. And they're a team that a lot of people are thinking that they're going to be back into the situation. They're going to make that move because the Rangers spent a lot of money the year before. We talked about that, bringing in Seager at shortstop, and of course my man Marcus Semien at second base. They made a bunch of moves. They got a hot young prospect, Josh Young, that is going to be playing third base for them. That probably will be the starting opening day third baseman. He came up later in the year and started banging it all over the place. And I know Dak is whack. I know, we get it. I won't ever forget it. You keep telling me that every day. But as I continue to talk about this Texas Rangers team, I think there is a lot of hope because the one thing that can always keep you in a ball game is the pitching position. And if you bring in great pitchers and you give your team a chance, because I believe the Rangers are going to score runs. They got some thump in those bats, and they're going to be able to make some plays. But I start to look at them and say, what can they do different? And bringing in Bruce Bochy is a great way to start. This guy has been around the game for a long time. He's a former big league catcher. He's done some amazing things when he was in San Francisco, even when he was in San Diego. He did a great job with them. So I think that is number one on the list for the Texas Rangers. But then, like I said, you bring in Jacob deGrom to spearhead that pitching staff. You also have some young guys that are going to come up probably through the year. Kumar Rocker, a former Vanderbilt pitcher. And then you also got to look at Jack Leiter, who has made his way, pitched in Double-A last year, and has done a good job. So I'm excited, believe it or not, to see what the Texas Rangers are going to be doing this year. I will be at the stadium this weekend, so I get a chance to walk around and kind of get the excitement going from the Rangers. They got a good farm system. They've done some things differently. As you know, the AAA affiliate right here in Round Rock. You get a chance to see a lot of these young stars, and two of the stars that were here last year are Josh Smith, who went up in the big leagues, and that was the guy that when we were at the stadium, Rod, during the pregame, we were talking about how the sound of the ball coming off his bat was a little bit different than others.
Yeah.
And another guy that was tearing up the league that will bring the lost art that I've been talking about, Rod, of the stolen base, Bubba Thompson. Bubba Thompson is a guy that is a unbelievable athlete. He could have went to college and played football. He was a top recruit in football as a quarterback, and now he's playing left field. He got a chance to win the left field job. They gave him a lot of opportunities last year to win that position. And then, of course, we want to talk about the Houston Astros, World Series champion Houston Astros.
Damn right.
The biggest question for them is they're going to definitely have to make some adjustments because you lose Justin Verlander, who was the heart and soul of that pitching staff, the leader there. But you got Christian Javier, you got Framber Valdez, you got Garcia, you got Hunter Brown that is making his way up through the system as well, who is just like Justin Verlander, actually. Got the same motion, same lineup. They have the same mechanics.
He's been mimicking him, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And the biggest question is going to be, what are you going to do with Michael Brantley? Michael Brantley is back. He's going to be healthy. He's going to get all his opportunities. But what are you going to do as far as Yordan, Michael Brantley? You got Jose Abreu now. You're bringing in different pieces to help close some of that gap that you have, but are those guys going to be healthy throughout the year? And that's one of the things that we've talked about. But the Astros as well as the Rangers, they both have good farm systems. But here's two teams that I want you to pay attention to heading into the season. The Chicago White Sox definitely have been in the conversation for quite some time. So that's a team that I want y'all to pay attention to heading into this season. And another team is obviously going to be the San Diego Padres.
Okay.
The Padres are a team that has all the pieces and all the makings of a team that can win the World Series. But they have to go through the Dodgers as always. Everything runs through L.A. They have continuously fought and been there. But this year, think about it. They just signed Xander Bogaerts to come play shortstop. They picked up Juan Soto last year during the trade. You still have Manny Machado, who is ready to go to the next level. You got Yu Darvish, who's still there. You just gave him an extension. And you got Josh Hader on the back end of that. If they can get together and play well the entire year, because remember, there were some times where they were fading back and forth. But this is the time that I think that they are ready to take that next step. So those are the two teams other than the regular ones that we always talk about, the Padres and, of course, the Chicago White Sox.
Man, the Astros, if they're truly want to be considered a dynasty, this is a big year.
This is a huge year.
I think
And
that's
you get
the
a
next
chance to
step
do
for
it
you.
without Justin Verlander. And then each year, you've done it without a big major piece
Yep.
in your
Totally
organization, that if you can do it again with some of the youth that you keep bringing up and being able to, you don't even have to win it all, but you have to be right there again. Don't get complacent. Don't get complacent.
Got to win it all.
And Dusty said if we win one,
gotta win
we're
it
going to
all.
win two.
Yeah. And so now it's center field and catcher again, right?
Yep.
It's been that for the last few years. Center field and catcher is the only two holes where you're like, all right, man, do we have it set up yet? Or do we get somebody in the farm system to come up? And I know the Astros have been on every trade rumor for a catcher. Anytime anyone discusses a catcher, the Astros name are in there. So they're trying to figure that one out. But, yeah, I'll be interested to see if they can find another outfielder, because that goes into the Michael Brantley thing too. Can you find another outfielder that is more the future of the Astros instead of filling in time trying to win another title? It's going to be there for several years.
Good point.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's that time. Like I said, everybody's excited. You get to hear the cracking of the baseballs hitting the bat and taking infield, running the bases. But then you're like, oh, man, here we go. Here we go. Why can't my team ever win? Why can't my team ever win?
Hey, that's how I'm usually talking about the Texans or the Rockets. Not about the Astros, though. So, yeah, really excited about baseball season. And you are actually going to be participating in the baseball.
The State Farm
Classic.
the Globe Life Classic.
Globe Life Classic.
Brought to you by Higginbotham. It's going to be outstanding. And by the way, you can win tickets. Go to hornfm.com and you get a chance to win some tickets. They got passes for the entire weekend that they are going to be giving out. So go to hornfm.com. It's right there at Globe Life. You got great baseball, SEC versus Big 12. All the games are going to be exciting. Opening night for the Texas Longhorns. They get to play an old Southwest Conference foe, the Arkansas Razorbacks. And just know this, both fan bases travel well. So we may see what you saw at Minute Maid last year when they played LSU, and there was 25,000 fans in that stands. You may get to see that on Friday night to open up the baseball season for the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
pretty
fortunate
cool.
enough to be on the call for every one of the Longhorns game for Flow Baseball this weekend.
Shout out, Matt Hart's
Yeah.
doing big things. So that's really excited for you, and really excited that we got that inside scoop
Yes, sir.
from Matt Hart. So he'll be calling us to try to give us a nice little preview of what's happening down there.
And I'll
at
give
the
you a
Gilf.
good look at the atmosphere as well.
No doubt. No, it's supposed to be a really cool atmosphere. A lot of people are excited about the start of the season. As a matter of fact, I heard Coach Ty Harrington on with B&E. Well,
Yeah.
he was on with E this morning because my man Bucky was out for some reason. But he was on with him and told some great stories, but also gave a great preview of this Texas baseball team coming
Yep.
up. And I can't wait to hear you talk about it too. But a
Yeah.
lot of unproven
A lot,
talent,
especially on the
unproven
corners.
commodities.
I got
yeah.
a chance to talk to Coach Pierce yesterday for the interview for the pregame, but also today because today was media day for the
right.
baseball players. So you'll hear some of the stuff throughout the day because our man Jeff Howe was there. Chip Brown's going to be on with Chad and Zay tomorrow because he was there as well. So make sure you're paying attention to your social media because there's a lot of information that's being pumped out every single day, and baseball season is right there where we can see it. We can see it.
We can
But
see
you
it.
know what else we can see? We can see that Carlos Correa passed the physical and he's still with the Twins.
Hey, everybody's entitled to change their mind. It's all
Yeah.
right. It's all good.
I love it.
All right, good stuff there. We come back. We will talk about the breaking news about Chris Beard. We'll get into that. Also, other off-the-record stories right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about our friends over at Ironworkers Local 482. We know this city is a beautiful city, and thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local 482. They've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935. As the city continues to grow and thrive, so does Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people. That's right, 3,000 people for a huge project, and you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482. We're talking about benefits and pension. It is a great opportunity, folks. So take pride in the type of teamwork as well and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. So you can maximize your potential and be your best self today by applying at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We were going to get into some other story here for off the record, but apparently there is big news that we need to get to. So apparently the charges against Chris Beard that had to do with domestic violence have been dismissed. Travis County DA dismissed those charges today. So looks like Chris Beard will be able to, he's going to coach somewhere again.
For sure.
Especially without that baggage now attached to him that they dismissed all the charges. So I'm sure for Chris Beard and his family, that's really great news so that now he can finally move on with his professional career, but also personally move on with things too.
Yeah. For those that have had an opinion one way or another, you always got to let the judicial system go ahead and take care of itself. And that's what happened. Everything had to play itself out. I know some people are like, why do we have to let him go? Why couldn't we wait? And it's still, I still believe that the university did what they needed to do within their rights, and he's going to be able to move on. Yes, it sucks because everybody is really like, I wanted him to be our coach. I wanted him to be our coach. And he got put in a situation where he ended up having to defend himself in the court of law, and now he's got to do it in the court of public opinion. Because just because of this got dismissed and got thrown out doesn't mean that it didn't happen either. So you still have to look at everything as what it is, and people are going to have their opinions every which way that they want. But good for him that it's already been taken care of, and he may be able to start his coaching career again.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Just because, and I always say, just because you're not guilty doesn't make you innocent.
Right. That's right.
So it's one of those things where it may not have risen to the level of criminality, whatever the issue was, but still doesn't necessarily make his conduct becoming of the head coach at the University of Texas.
Correct.
So looks like Chris Beard will be able to move on. Those domestic violence charges have been dismissed. That is the breaking news. And I'm really interested to see what university is going to, jump at the opportunity to bring Chris Beard in first. I wonder what university, what level, and how quickly does it happen?
Right.
Now that like I said, now that he doesn't have the baggage of those charges attached to him anymore.
The only way I would see it happening right now, I think it would happen definitely in the offseason. I don't see anybody making a move right now. There will be some coaching positions that will be open.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It always happens every year.
You're getting close to the end of the regular season. You just have the tournaments, the
For
conference
those that
tournaments.
won't be in the tournament,
exactly.
then he can make it.
Some schools are like, well, hell, we already
What
know.
are we waiting for?
Yeah. So you might get some movement in the next couple of weeks, but you're right. Most of that obviously will happen.
He might be like Derek Carr.
New Mexico State needs a new head coach?
They may need a whole new program.
A whole new program.
They may need a whole new program.
Reset the whole damn thing. So there you go.
He might be like Derek Carr. Already took a couple meetings, but he was just waiting for his free agency to start. You know what I'm saying?
You're right about that. Yeah, that's the crazy stuff going on in Mexico State. And, as Patrick brought up, they haven't been a terrible program either.
Nope.
Right now, just going through a lot of turmoil. I don't know if you want to combine their controversy and stuff going on, then Chris Beard coming off of his own little
I don't
scandal.
think you would do either. But
But hell, maybe you do.
That's like trying to put out an inferno with a water hose. It just don't happen.
That ain't gonna happen.
No, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not the right way to go. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into the discussion that lit the Specs text line ablaze with the debate about.
I like what you did there.
About the debate about who is a better quarterback right now, Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott. We'll get into it, talk about the origin of that discussion, and also read some of your texts from the Specs text line from our earlier conversation. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. And the movie, Footloose, this is a great song. This song is still a damn good song. Still bangs to this day.
Do you know the scene?
I've seen that movie twice, and it's got to be 15 years. No way.
And the only reason I know is because it's a ridiculous scene in itself, but it's great, but it's ridiculous.
What show was it?
It was the tractor chicken.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's the tractor chicken scene.
Well, they're riding towards each other.
They're riding towards each other, and his shoelace gets stuck, so he can't
jump
out.
Off. He can't get
and so they all think he's crazy, but really he was gonna bail. But then this song's playing. It's hilarious. It's great.
That's when everybody knows we need to hang out with that guy.
Yeah,
he's got our back.
Man,
he's not backing down from us.
That guy won tractor chicken, and he can dance. Oh, we need a hero.
Yeah. Once again,
he's gonna change our whole city.
Getting back to my theory about the cocaine-fueled 80s and why he come up with
the
these
loosest definition of a hero ever.
It's just the cocaine of the 80s really made some of the strangest movie ideas that we've ever seen for a decade. Weird Science. You brought up Weekend at Bernie's, Patrick. That's right out there. Some texture brought up Mannequin. Mannequin's another one. This is a weird movie, but it works. It's weird, but it works. I'm not hating on it, but there was some strange pitches, like to pitch those ideas to movie producers. But if you're high on cocaine, it's a hell of a drug. And you know what? Sounds like, the Weird Science plot, or the plot to Footloose, where the guy has to dance because if he don't dance, then life don't matter. If I can't dance, then none of this is worth it. And then a reverend who basically has somehow brought in the biblical Bible passages that are also showing how anti-dancing he is, or vehemently opposed he is to dancing. So, yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. I know people are excited. People are excited for Cocaine Bear. They're saying that's the new idea of the movie.
Yeah, you get those every now and again.
We don't get them. Yeah, they're regularity.
The 80s were that was like 4 or 5 of those a year was coming out in the 80s, man. Yeah, Cocaine Bear. I'll have to see it, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing Cocaine Bear.
Because we all have to see Ray Liotta's last movie.
Was that his last movie?
He's in the movie.
Oh,
is there another movie coming out with Ray Liotta?
That's right.
He was in a TV show I just watched, Blackbird. It's actually pretty good. It's worth watching. He was in that.
I remember you saying
and you
that.
can tell you can tell he looks really bad.
He is in Cocaine Bear. So
Cocaine Bear
have a great historic career.
It's fantastic.
Wrap it up with Cocaine Bear.
With Cocaine Bear. Hey, you know what?
I'm sure there's worse movies.
I'm gonna watch it, so maybe it was worth it for him. But yeah, that's the movie Footloose. So he's totally randomly making fun of 80s movies as a result of that, because it's one of the more hilarious ones, at least looking at the plot anyway. Right. But you can hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Specs text line. You can hit us up via Twitter. Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. Let's get to the Dak discussion here, gentlemen. So yesterday, Pro Football Focus put out a tweet. It's a simple tweet. Seemed relatively harmless. Stuff they put out all the time. And the tweet had a caption. First of all, it was a picture of Jalen Hurts with a caption. Jalen Hurts is a top blank quarterback in the NFL. Or I should ask it like it is presented. Jalen Hurts is a top blank quarterback in the NFL? It's a question mark. Mm-hmm. Trevon Diggs quote tweets that tweet with just a one character response, just a number 5. That's it. Number 5, that's it. Leaves it alone. Mm-hmm. It blows up, of course, on social media, goes viral. Everybody assumes Trevon Diggs believes that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. That's what he put there. And then the conversation starts. I don't believe Trevon Diggs has actually, been asked about this recently. But actually last season he was asked about it. We'll get some Trevon Diggs sound here in a second. But Trevon Diggs did not contribute to the conversation, but Twitterverse and everybody else went all in and started having the conversation, the hypothetical, the thought experiment. So if you are, a Cowboys fan right now, and we do have one, my man Harge here, do you consider Jalen Hurts to be a better quarterback than Dak Prescott right now?
Yeah, this year, absolutely. Okay. He did. He played better. He didn't turn the ball over. He got his team to the Super Bowl. They had a chance to win it. He fumbled. They lost, and that's just the way it went. So if we're going off of this year, Absolutely. And we've talked about his upside and do we think it? We think we know what Dak's ceiling is. Maybe things change. Dak has had to deal with a bunch of injuries throughout his career. Well, in his most recent part of his career, dealt with a broken leg, ended up having to have surgery on his thumb. And if some of you who have never thrown a football, your thumb is a vital part of your success. I mean, you have to be able to hold on to the football with your thumb. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But as you look at this season and where he is, and for Diggs to go out there and put a number 5 on it, is he a top 5 quarterback? I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, but to answer your question, he is better than Dak Prescott was this year for sure.
Would you ever say Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL?
I don't think I've ever said that Dak Prescott was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
And
I think what's happening right now, we're caught up in the moment.
Prisoners of the moment?
We are definitely part of that. And
That's fair.
that is the biggest part of this conversation.
That's
is
fair.
because everybody's been thinking that Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback. What has he done to prove that to you? He really hasn't. Top 5 quarterbacks are the ones that win games, right? You put yourself in a position to win championships. We were talking about it during the break. Do you consider Aaron Rodgers still a top 5 quarterback?
I mean, and that's 2-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, MVP Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Is he a top 5 quarterback?
Right. So that's where the conversation kind of varies. But to your point, and for this conversation, this year, Jalen Hurts is better than Dak Prescott.
Take away the top 5 conversation and just go with, is this guy better than Dak Prescott? Is Jalen Hurts better than Dak Prescott?
This year, yes.
Is Justin Herbert better than Dak Prescott?
He didn't win 12 games. You know what I'm saying?
But
So,
that's not answering the question.
Is his upside? Absolutely. There's a lot of people whose
What would you say?
upside, yes.
No upside. Is he better than Dak Prescott? Period.
Yeah.
Okay, Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
So it seems like he's definitely Dak's never going to be in the top 5 quarterback conversation.
I don't think he should have been. I've personally, as a Cowboys fan, I've never put him in the top 5. That's why it's crazy to me when some of the people just attack him that. I'm not saying you.
I agree.
I'm just saying that.
And I think it's unfair to Dak that now he's kind of being thrust into this conversation.
Unbelievable.
Because it's like, well, what? Because it's through Trevor and Diggs, his teammate, that he is being thrust into this conversation. But for the sake of the argument, have we ever had a conversation about Dak being top 5?
No.
Never. Never.
Nobody has.
But now we're already having this conversation about Jalen Hurts?
Well,
No. I'm just asking.
But
people
again,
having a legitimate
prisoners of the moment.
Well, he was a finalist for the MVP.
So was Carson Wentz.
Huh?
Carson Wentz would have won the MVP if he hadn't gotten hurt. And now look at his story now.
It's a great point. That's a great point. But he didn't go to the Super Bowl.
Well, he didn't because he was there.
Well, he was
Nick
there,
Nick
but
Foles
he wasn't.
was the starting
He wasn't
quarterback.
leading the team.
Right.
And Jalen Hurts is the leader of the team.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. That is again the conversation because there have been other quarterbacks that have led their teams to the Super Bowl that we all thought were going to be this, and then their teams never got back there. Let's see what happens next year and the year after that to lead those teams
But if
back
the conversation is about Dak, Dak's never done that.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. He hadn't been to the championships yet.
So be devil's advocate, because I'm a Dak fan too, but be devil's advocate in the conversation. Dak's never done it.
Right.
And he's already been in the MVP conversation and already led his team to a Super Bowl appearance. Dak's had talented teams.
And Dak was in the MVP conversation.
Conversation or a finalist?
I think
No, he
I
was
don't
not.
even- no, he didn't get
He was
votes.
never a finalist.
He didn't get the votes at the
He was
end of
never
the
a
year.
finalist.
Yeah.
He was conversation. Hell, Robbie's in the conversation to be one of the all-time best corners. Yeah, conversation.
But
my
you are.
butt, but I'm
Yeah.
not. Okay,
Yeah.
you know how it
That's
works.
you being modest.
I was in
Because
the
every
con-
person
yeah.
told us
Yeah.
that you was in the
I was
conversation.
in a conversation to date Beyonce, but it never happened. You know what I mean?
I saw your boy Nasty Nate. He told me he was cold.
In the conversation. But but I'm with you. I think we are. There's no question we're being prisoners of the moment. I will admit that. We are prisoners of the moment right now because you're right. When we project, the sample size is too small. He's been in the league 3 years, only been a starter for 2, and we have no idea. And I agree, considering he's a true dual threat quarterback, and they don't use him in a responsible manner. I mean, the guy's running more quarterback sneaks, and not just a quarterback sneak where you're trying to go, underneath and trying to avoid as much contact as possible. No, they're running quarterback sneaks where he's got two guys that are jamming him from behind and are grabbing one buttock each and mashing him into the line of scrimmage while other D linemen and linebackers are trying to mash him up top. Yeah. And you know what I mean? So he's not playing a game where he's trying to avoid and evade contact. No, he's actually embracing contact, which I'm not opposed to. I like dual threat quarterbacks. I prefer them, but I also prefer them to be responsible runners. And it's not his fault that he's not a responsible runner, because they use him in a very, I'm going to say, reckless fashion, but they rely on his physicality at that position. And he's amazing. He used to be a power lifter, so he is unique in that ability. But those things do add up for dual threat quarterbacks over time. We've seen it. We have enough of a sample size with dual threat quarterbacks to know you keep taking hits, you keep taking that punishment, and it will add up. You're going to end up missing games, and any time in the year it's end up hurting your team. It's going to cost you wins. That is something that we attribute directly to the quarterback position. So if anything, in the future, as he progresses as a quarterback, I want to see him become a responsible runner. Like I said, it's not all him, because that's a lot of that. It's the system. But our guys like Russell Wilson and guys like Vince Young love their running style because they never got hit cleanly, always avoided contact. They were just really responsible runners. Guys like Josh Allen, guys like Cam Newton, RG3, reckless runners. They just didn't give it. Hell, Andrew Luck was like that. That guy's extremely intelligent, was a reckless runner. That's what I worry about with him. It's just the sustainability of that style of play.
Yeah, and I do want to go back because in 2016, Dak got Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he finished 6th in the AP MVP voting. So he did finish in there, but that was his rookie year. That was the year that it happened. Yeah. But, yes, I do understand where everybody's going with it and thinking a certain way about it. And I'm not denying the fact that I think Jalen Hurts he's the one that has done a great job. Let's not forget, Dak was a 4th round, 5th round pick. Jalen Hurts got picked in the 2nd round. So what Dak has done has created this aura about him. He wasn't supposed to be that guy. Nobody really looked at him that guy. And now he's at this position, and now everybody wants to poo-poo on him and really look at him as if he was a lot of the problem. This year, I can actually say it. He didn't play well. He didn't play well at all. But if we go back and we look at what he's done over the course of his career, he's actually been a damn good quarterback.
Oh,
in the
nobody's saying he's
NFL.
not.
I'm not saying you. Yeah. I'm just saying in general.
No, I agree. I think the conversation
But the conversation is top 5.
Yeah, the conversation is about him and about Jalen Hurts. So I get the Dak Prescott's been great. He's been good. He's been fantastic. I don't disagree with any of that. Is he better than Jalen Hurts? And I think a lot of people are saying
right now, no.
A lot of people are saying no.
Yeah.
They're like, no. I'll take if I asked you over the next 3 years, what quarterback would you take? Jalen Hurts, 3-year sample over the next 3 years, or Dak Prescott? I think a lot of people will go, you know what? I'll take Jalen Hurts. I'd take Jalen Hurts right now, and I love me some Dak Prescott. Yep. But it seems like Jalen Hurts may have a higher ceiling potentially. And I mean, has Dak Prescott plateaued as a player?
We will find out this year with his new quarterback coach.
I think the belief by Cowboys fans and NFL fans that Dak Prescott has plateaued and that Jalen Hurts potentially now has kind of shattered through his glass ceiling and now he has a higher upside. I think those two narratives are right now starting to, meet head to head in the court of public opinion, the public discourse. And I think it has. You're right about Dak's rookie year. People forget about his rookie year because it was so long ago. But he came on the scene like man, he was like a superstardom. He really was. I mean, he really did. I mean, he had a fantastic season and he kind of shocked the NFL with his rookie year. Jalen Hurts, different trajectory. He was a guy that was considered, 2nd-round pick. So they didn't know if he was going to be a franchise quarterback or what. They decided he was going to be the starting quarterback when Nick Sirianni got the job as head coach. And he looked serviceable. He looked, above average.
Right.
But nothing special.
Right.
Nothing elite about his game at all at the NFL level. I liked the draft pick when he was drafted in the 2nd round, but most people hated that draft pick.
And most of the time they were going to use him as the running quarterback. He was going to be the dual threat quarterback that they would bring in certain situations.
Well, Doug Peterson said he thought he was actually Lamar Jackson. He said he's my Lamar Jackson comp. That's what I like about him. My theory was that he was going to be a utility guy. They never really actually used him in that manner. That's how I thought they were going to use him. But anyway, Doug Peterson really liked him. They brought him in. He was a serviceable starting quarterback. But then you saw just one offseason, whether that be the organization deciding to go all in on him and surround him with a ton of talent, or that just be that he has the competitive sickness and he decided to crystallize his focus and take his game to the next level by, working out in the offseason, which everybody says he became a kind of a workaholic. And his work ethic is unquestioned and something that they put on they compare him to Tom Brady and other great quarterbacks, that he is obsessed with working. I love the way Ty Harrington put it today. He said, some people work in sports to get it right, and others work to never get it wrong.
Right.
And he seems to be the latter. Guy that's working to never get it wrong, not just to get it right. Get it right. Everybody can get it right once or twice, and they be like, I'm done. I got it right. Like, I'm going to do it 150 times so I never get it wrong. That's the Kobe. Right, that's what Kobe did. He'd sit there and throw up 400 shots, and there's 400 shots to make sure I make 100 of them straight. So I know, I know exactly how to shoot this shot from this angle on the court. And Jalen Hurts is one of those guys. I'm not saying Dak's not, but I think that is also adding to the prisoner of the moment you've been talking about as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, in prisoner of the moment too, we look at he just lost his OC. He's going into a year where we've seen with Patrick Mahomes that he had to change basically his whole style because a few DCs figured him out, and they started to take away what he had, and now he's changed everything he does. If you look at Jalen Hurts, you go, okay, well, now he's coming off a Super Bowl. He is now a primary target of everybody going to be looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the same OC play calling, so it's the same system, but Sirianni said Steichen was making the calls. So we'll see in another season. And so if we say the prisoner of the moment, for one season, Jalen Hurts has been the better quarterback.
Yep.
But Dak was the better quarterback every previous season prior to that. So looking at it that way, and when you put into those, is he a top 5 quarterback things, you look at Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, before he set foot on the field in Cleveland, could have been a top 5 quarterback.
I agree
and
with
now
that.
people are looking at him going, he's not top 15.
I remember that. No.
Yep.
When you take 2 years off of football, though.
Yeah,
I agree.
yes.
But that's the
Sure.
thing is a prisoner of the moment, where if you look and you go, well, yeah, if we look at his stuff that he did in Houston, he had a ton of great years. But now we know, hey, man, now we don't know who we're going to see next season.
Yeah.
So I'm more curious to see what Dak can do with the new offensive coordinator than excited to see what Jalen Hurts will do with a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Some of the texters here trying to get into the conversation said compare Dak to the other QBs taken in the 4th round. Yeah.
I just said it. Those are the ones right there.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins, you can go there, but I mean, in the NFL, honestly, once you get the starting job, you're a starter.
You're the starter.
I mean, we're gonna compare the
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, man, we can go there, but that's something that you're supposed to be past that once you're at a starting quarterback level. It's not about where you were drafted. The NFL misses a lot. Hell, they miss like half the time on guys. But as long as you get your shot and you make the most of it. Someone says A.J. Brown was a difference. It's nice to have a wide receiver who was always open. We talked about that too earlier. That at one time Dak had I thought he had a significant amount of weaponry around him.
Mm-hmm.
He does not now, but at one time he did. And I think the argument that I would make devil's advocate against those who are arguing for Dak would be, well, how far did they go when Dak had weapons?
Right.
Like, how did they go to the NFC title game when they had weapons? He
Yeah.
had weapons at one time. He wasn't always bereft of talent around him. Now they are bereft of that kind of talent. But what happened when they did have that talent? Did they go to the NFC title game, or they lose to San Fran again?
No.
And that's an organizational thing. That's not all Dak. That's organizationally. The Eagles are a better organization than the Cowboys. San Fran, better organization than the Cowboys. Green Bay, better organization than the Cowboys. Period.
Well, and I'll throw
There's a price to be paid
I'll
for
throw
that
a
as
name
well.
of there of a really good organization, the Steelers. I don't think Ben Roethlisberger was ever thought of as a top 5 quarterback, but he'll probably be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Probably not. Yeah,
And
maybe like 1 or 2 years, like Hartridge mentioned.
But-
maybe he had his years, but
but
for the most
but
part.
he's never got an MVP vote. He's never. I don't know if he's ever been top 5. He's probably still he might get in the Hall of Fame, and he's won 2 Super Bowls. So there is a path to being really good if the organization is put right around you. And when prisoner of the moment of looking at Jalen Hurts, you go, well, everything is put right for him right now. And Dak Prescott, they took away all his weapons and told him to go do it with not a full thumb. So I agree that I told you earlier, I would take Jalen Hurts over Dak Prescott because I think his ceiling is much higher right now. But at the same point, I don't think the gap between them is as much as some people are acting like it is.
Yeah. Someone says, don't forget Cooper Rush won 4 games this year.
Yeah,
for the
that's why
Cowboys.
they said Dak didn't win 12. That's why Dak didn't win 12. He went 8-4. Okay.
Someone says, what's Hurts' stats in Super Bowl compared to Dak playoff games? No, Dak's actually been. I don't think he's had bad playoff games at all.
He hasn't.
It's more about we think quarterbacks are responsible, or basically mostly responsible for wins and losses, and that's not fair. But that's the world we live in. And Jalen Hurts got to the Super Bowl in his second year as a starter, and Dak Prescott hasn't been able to get to that point. If Dak Prescott had like an NFC title game in his resume, I don't know if we'd be having this conversation.
And I think that's the biggest story of it all is getting to that title game. Make sure you get there. We talked about the fact that Pat Mahomes has been to 5 in a row. I mean, he's been to 5 championships, and he played in 3 Super Bowls.
So you already know.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
Yeah, Joe Burrow early on.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
People saw Joe Burrow, they're like, all right, this guy wins.
Yeah.
He knows that he can win the playoffs.
He's been in the championship games,
Yeah.
and he's a couple seconds away, or one Joseph Osai hit out of bounds to possibly playing in another one. And then we're having a different story about Patrick Mahomes as well. I mean, he's still the MVP, but
we're not having a GOAT conversation.
But we're having
exactly.
That kind
of stuff.
Yeah.
Someone says Trevor Lawrence or Dak. Well, we'll take Trevor Lawrence on that one, I think.
I mean,
right?
He's the number 1 overall draft. I mean,
someone says, is Dak even a Dallas top 5 all-time quarterback organizationally?
That's to be debated.
That's not fair to say before his career's over.
Yeah.
Everyone else, like Tony
Romo
at the point in time of Dak's career, Dak's probably better than Romo at the point in the career, but because of the longevity of Romo, it passes him. I think Dak in a point of time is probably top 5, but depending on if he goes further in his career, then he could pass more people or drop out of the list.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Yes, a lot of people got opinions about this. A lot of Dak fans. Dwight Rabbit says Dak is not terrible. He's not as aggressive as Jalen is at this time, though. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So he says he said, I'm a Cowboys fan, but Jalen Hurts produces in clutch time. Dak is not doing so. That's I guess it's fair because in that last game against San Fran, Dak had opportunities in clutch time.
Yeah.
Just go out there and just win the damn game for his team, and that did not happen. Now, every quarterback's had those opportunities and missed out on them, but we need to see how often has Dak done it in the playoffs when everything's on the line?
It's going to have to happen.
Game-winning drives.
It's going to have to happen this year.
Fourth quarter comebacks. Have we seen that from Dak? I'm sure it's happened. But
remember, I told you, I was like, man, I'm about to jump off this debate and not be defending him near as much as I have because I need to see more from him as well.
Yep.
I mean, but again, let's just say he comes back next year. He has everything that he needs. He's healthy, doesn't get hurt, doesn't have to put a plate in his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about his leg anymore, and he just goes out and plays football. Let's see what happens then, and then we'll have this discussion. But as of today, Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and I think obviously this is just a radio hypothetical thought experiment. But honestly, we do need more sample size from Jalen Hurts because you made a great point about Carson Wentz and how high everybody was on him and the precipitous drop off. Not comparing the two at all.
No, not at all.
But you can be. I mean, you can just have a hell of a year. I mean, Nick Foles did
He sure did
twice.
Yeah,
actually, maybe he had that one year with Chip Kelly where he set the. He set the NFL record in touchdown interception ratio or something like that.
It was unbelievable.
Had one of the highest passer ratings in NFL history.
Uniform went to the Hall of Fame because he had 6 touchdowns in a game.
Oh no, he was balling that year, and then came back another year after dropping off, falling off,
and people were mad at him.
And then as a backup, ended up winning the Super Bowl. So you can just have those, just kind of runs, if you will. He's definitely had those.
Yep.
But so that I'm not saying that's Jalen Hurts, but that's why you do need to see it again.
Yep.
And as Patrick mentioned, it's going to be intriguing because you're going to get to see it without the offensive coordinator. It's going to be some new pieces. As long as they don't lose Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey, because those two have contemplated retirement. Because that's the best right tackle and the best center in the league.
Yeah.
You lose the best center and the best right tackle in the league in one offseason.
Yeah, that's
Ain't
tough.
No damn way they're going to be the same offense. You just can't replace that. can't. And Jason Kelsey's a Hall of Fame center.
I
Don't
agree.
care if
Lane
they
Johnson, Hall of Fame.
Don't care if they
tackle.
had 3 people pushing your butt up in the middle.
Exactly. It is, and some people are. There's a push, no pun intended. Competition committee. They're going to try to. There's going to be some defensive coaches that want to outlaw that move.
Yep.
They're going to make it.
Try and go back to the no
You
pushing.
can't. You basically can't grab buttock each and just kind of push the quarterback.
It's going to take an injury.
Into the pile. It will take an injury, and it does make sense. It definitely can cause injury, but the only people that are going to do it are people who got quarterbacks built like Jalen Hurts. You're not going to take your quarterback that's some scrawny quarterback, Bryce Young, and do that with Bryce
There's
Young.
not, but I
break him
bet
in
there's
half.
I bet there's like 5 or 6 coaches that would put a backup in there for a play to do it.
That's smart though. That is good to do. Yeah.
Like I bet McDaniels would be like, "Hey man, 3rd string QB, get in here." And he's like, "What coach?" And he's like, "If you drop this ball, you're cut."
Oh yeah, you're right. No, you're right. And all you gotta do, you can just call it. You can call it like a package about the badonkadonk package.
We're gonna call it the ventriloquist dummy. Hey, because they picking their hands right up in there to get up there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. No, I love the game though that we're basically playing. Is he better than Dak Prescott? I can play that game all day. I really can. That's basically all this. All this boils down to is that guy better than Dak Prescott? Do you think he's better than Dak Prescott? And how many players would you end up saying yes, they are better than Dak Prescott?
Any quarterback on the Jets.
Texas want us to also know, we're talking about weird 80s movies since Footloose is the featured movie of Midweek Movie Music. Don't forget about Cocoon and Short Circuit.
What about Roadhouse?
Roadhouse is up there too. Roadhouse is just the plot and the way it works out.
Hey, that's a movie about dancing. Hey, you know what? Let's make a movie about bouncers.
And the acting is so bad, it's good. Like it's one of the worst acted movies in the history of time.
They got the Funker, Terry Funk's in it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best.
I can't wait to go to the ER and get stitched up and
yeah.
fall in love. Make sure you make it over there.
Oh, also sad news too. We didn't get to this, but the great Raquel Welch passed away today.
Yep.
Raquel Welch. So actually, there's a tribute to her on our website. That's how big time that is.
She was.
That is, she was 82, I believe. How old she was? 82 years old.
82.
82.
So so maybe we'll start talking because she was one of the most iconic sex symbols in the history of American pop culture.
She was definitely at
Like
the
she was
top
one
of it.
One of the first ones. I mean, like one of the first sex symbols. That's always that poster of her on the. What was that from 100 billion BC, 100 million BC, whatever it is, right? 100, whatever.
She was
some
she
movie
was,
way
she was
back in
part
the
of
day,
that.
and she had on this.
She was
cave
basically
woman.
hanging out with the caveman.
Yeah, this cave woman outfit, and apparently, I'm
Wasn't
not
that Charleston Heston in that movie? Probably.
No,
I
that
think?
was it?
I think it was.
Well, he was Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe I don't think I've ever seen the movie.
Yeah.
I just remember the poster.
Yep.
Because the poster's so iconic with her in the cave woman outfit.
Yeah, buddy.
And I'm 42 years old. That's just way before my time. But
1 million years BC.
Was it 1 million years? When was it?
1 million years
1 million
BC.
years BC.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. All right, so shout out, and maybe we'll start transitioning, talking about all-time greatest sex symbols in American pop culture history, because she was definitely one of those. All right, I went down the rabbit hole, and I didn't mean for this to become a topic, but it is. We'll talk about the connection between Super Bowl winning coaches and Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. And I got to tell you, I didn't think I'd be giving these guys props today, but that's what happened when I went down this rabbit hole. I'll share it with you on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Brand new year, time for a brand new you and a brand new automobile, too. And we know that right now the car business is a crazy business, folks. Inflation is through the roof all over the place. And all you want to do is find the car of your dreams, your perfect car for the perfect price with the perfect payment. And my friends at Apple Leasing, they can help you navigate this crazy car market that we're dealing with right now. And they can help you find the perfect car for you and your family and your budget. budget. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. They know that time is money, and they want to save you both. All it takes is one phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They'll even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Apple Leasing's simple interest, easy lease allows you to have a lot more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best. But more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. Like I said, inflation is crazy. It's out of control. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, buy anything for that matter. So leasing actually makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. That's the value my friends at Apple Leasing can find for you. So give them a call. What are you waiting for? 512-346-9977. Just let them see how much money they can save you. They get all the same discounts, all the same incentives that the dealers do, except they pass those savings on to you, the customer. So give them a call, 512-346-9977. That's 512-346-9977, or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. All right, sorry, I'm distracted. So
It's okay, dog.
I saw a
You're going
tweet.
through this rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know?
I go rabbit holing too often.
Yeah.
CB sent me a tweet. Sent us a tweet at ChrisGB002000 about them making a biopic miniseries with Tom Brady as the producer about John Madden. And we were all thinking like, man, so when in John Madden's life, old John Madden, young John Madden, and then thinking about, well, who's going to play John Madden? He's so iconic and so, I don't know, unique and, right? So recognizable. You got to make sure you knock that one out of the park. The casting's got to be perfect. And we just couldn't figure out really anybody that could play a good John Madden. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know if you guys know this actor. I think he could do it as a young John Madden, but I don't know how big he is. You know, what's his name? Jesse Plemons?
Who is that?
He's an unknown actor. You gotta look it up. He's been in a lot of different stuff, but he might be able to go young John Madden. Go look him up.
Okay.
He actually was in Friday Night Lights, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that might work.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know how big he is though. He's got to be. He got that face though. He needs that round face.
He can do it. He can put on some weight
Put
for
on a little weight.
Who doesn't want to put on some weight for a role?
Yeah,
That's the best part about acting is putting
That is
on
true.
weight for a role.
he might be able to pull out. It's like I said, it's gonna be tough to do. Anyway, sorry, that's random conversation. Thanks, CB, for getting me distracted. All right, I want to hit this story because I went rabbit holing last night actually. So I was talking to a friend of mine about Andy Reid's legacy, and we were talking for a while about Andy Reid and how great he was, and I was comparing Andy Reid. I said Andy Reid is to Patrick Mahomes what Quincy Jones was to Michael Jackson, or what I said this yesterday. Basically what Dr. Dre was to Eminem, right? The ultimate creative mind with the ultimate on field, on mic talent, whatever you want to say. So we got into that discussion about Andy Reid on Made It Special, and I said, still, with Andy Reid, he wasn't able to take a quarterback like Donovan McNabb and win a Super Bowl, but they got to a Super Bowl. And then we got down the path of how often does a head coach win a Super Bowl without a quarterback who's either in the Hall of Fame or headed to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And it's just doesn't happen a lot. 9 of 39 quarterback coach combos to win a Super Bowl, I consider did it without what is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. The only one that may be, I don't know, on the verge there is Matt Stafford, because we talked about it, but here are the ones. Doug Peterson with Nick Foles. Sean McVay, because we all agree Pat Mahomes is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yes.
Exactly. And
100%.
Yeah, Tom Brady, that's the GOAT right there. And hell, that's, a couple of your last Super Bowls right there. But quarterbacks who aren't Hall of Fame quarterbacks, so not the coaches, only the quarterbacks winning, talking about people, at least quarterback combos, quarterback head coach combos to win a Super Bowl who don't have a quarterback with Hall of Fame credentials or even headed in that way. So 9 of these I identified. Doug Peterson with Nick Foles, Sean McVay with Matt Stafford, John Harbaugh with Joe Flacco, John Gruden with Brad Johnson, Brian Billick with Trent Dilfer, Bill Parcells did it, Mike Ditka did it with Joe McMahon, Joe Gibbs did it, Tom Flores did it. The reason I didn't get into the Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs, Tom Flores quarterbacks, because they actually did it more than once. And there's a belief in the NFL that you can win one Super Bowl with a lot of luck.
Yep.
Because injury luck plays a huge role. The healthiest team in the NFL this year, Eagles.
Yep.
All their starters for the game, for the Super Bowl.
It's amazing when that happens.
Exactly.
Right?
Healthiest team in the league this year. The healthiest team in the league, the Bucks in the league when the Bucks won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, the Bucks. If you can just stay, and that's luck. That's just pure luck. Nobody knows. I mean, I'm sure there are things you can do within your training staff and help guys, encourage yoga and, the dietitian can be great and nutritionist, all that. But, man, a lot of that is just pure luck.
It's absolute luck.
So there's a lot of people that believe, like, yeah, man, you can get lucky and win a Super Bowl. It can happen. It can. Man, look at John Gruden's Super Bowl. That's not luck, but, hell, man, the Raiders didn't even change the damn hand signals or the plays. Ran to say, what do you think he said when he was like, holy Chicago, they're running the same plays, same hand signals. Guys, I know they're running.
Right.
Like,
Never
that's
made
crazy.
the
That's not going to be to the right C gap is. Oh my God, right C gap. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
you know,
boy.
it probably took them, 4 plays ago? Dude, they're running the same plays I ran, same hex signals. They didn't change a damn
Just
thing.
turn to the left and go, if he runs a fly route right now.
Yeah.
I know they're running.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not saying that's luck, but I mean, helped them out tremendously there, right? But man, you start looking at the head coaches who are able to win Super Bowls without quarterbacks who are considered Hall of Fame worthy quarterbacks. Man, you got to give more props. This is basically my segment, try to give more props to Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs, and Tom Flores.
I like it.
I mean,
I like it.
They've won multiple Super Bowls with quarterbacks who are not considered Hall of Fame worthy. That's hard enough.
Yeah.
Then to do it multiple times. Bill Parcells did it with Phil Simms and Jeff Hostetler. Joe Gibbs did it with Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, and Mark Rippon 3 times. And Tom Flores with Dan Pastorini and Jim Plunkett. That, to me, I think that should get more props these days because I'm just thinking about how Andy Reid elevates Patrick Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes elevates Andy Reid's game. Andy Reid has a quarterback now, his ultimate muse, that knows that he can make any play and any throw on a football field. So there is no longer a limit to my creativity.
Right.
We talked about this with Sark, right? That's why Sark became obsessed with the arm of Quinn Ewers, because the golden arm can make all the throws, and now my complete playbook is available to me.
Right.
And it's like, well, because he can make all the throws,
doesn't mean
he should be making all the throws. You know what I mean? I think he learned a lesson, but I digress with Patrick Mahomes. He can make all the throws, and he should make all the throws, and he could make all the throws. And that's the difference. But with these guys, the quarterbacks may have played well, but the quarterbacks don't necessarily weren't elite enough to be able to uplift the coaching talent. So I give these coaches a ton of credit because that is something that's really, really tough to do. So I think when the all-time great, because we were talking about, Hall of Fame coaches and the Hall of Fame resume of Andy Reid and how he is making a case to be on the Mount Rushmore of all-time great coaches in the league. Man, give some more love to guys like Bill Parcells, Tom Flores, and Joe freaking Gibbs.
Yep.
3 Super Bowls with Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, and Mark Rippon, 3 guys that did not Pro Football Hall of Famers by any stretch. And he had to basically reincarnate and reset those teams to win Super Bowls with quarterbacks with different styles. And it's mostly because they were just running the rock with the hogs up front. But still, just doing some rabbit holing. I have a special place in my heart as a football theorist for Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs, and Tom Flores. All 3 of those guys deservingly in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, as they should be.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone says Philip Seymour Hoffman. I love that from KO. Philip Seymour Hoffman would have been an excellent John Madden. Yes, he would have.
Yep.
He would have. No, the one I like, John Candy, would have been a great.
Oh,
John Candy was the guy.
John Candy would have. Oh, yeah. Honestly, now when you said I saw it in my head again, like, whoa, John Candy would have been mind blowing as Madden. Yeah. It'd have been, that's great. You're right about that.
That texter who said that, and that's a solid one.
That would be like Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, whoa, that's kind of spooky.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
It's too much. It's too good.
Yeah. Your John Goodman idea, not a nap guy, had the same thing. John Goodman. Oh, someone says Jesse Plemons is from Dawson, Texas.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. Even more love for him.
I saw some pictures. I think he's the guy.
Someone says John Goodman as old Madden. Yeah, you can go John Goodman as old Madden. But, yeah, you got to go with, I don't know. I just think you got to get somebody young and that kind of fits that, I don't know, that mold of Madden.
Yeah.
And mold was, I think he was a lineman, if I'm not mistaken, Madden was. So he's bigger, but Hollywood can make you look big. The face is key. The face is round, and it is very recognizable. You got to get the face right.
Then you got to find Pat Summerall.
That's true. Oh, my man Joe Taylor says Joe Gibbs Racing has won 10 cups too. Yeah, Joe Gibbs don't get enough love in the sports world.
Yeah.
We just do not bring. Joe Gibbs is probably the most, I'm going to say it right now, Joe Gibbs, most underappreciated coaching great in the history of the NFL. Easily.
Yeah.
He's the one that popularized the H-back because he had to go up against Lawrence.
Hogs. He had the Hogs.
He had to go against Lawrence Taylor all the damn time. And he was like, well, how am I going to stop Lawrence Taylor? He's like, well, you know what? I'm going to put another big body out there, essentially another tackle, but he's going to be a tight end. We're going to call him an H-back, and that's what we're going to run with it. So he's got to run the hump every time. He's got to beat 2 guys every time. H-back.
Yep.
So, problem solver.
Ding, 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 ding.
So Joe Gibbs, Jim some more love randomly. All right, random segment there. We come back. Yeah. We'll get into a little bit more off the record on the other side. This time, got Super Bowl related off the record. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? This is your Lifetime Long Run Rod Babers here. You guys know that I'm a big fan of Hot Cat Tequila. What's not to love? The cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila, and the recipe just as simple and just as delicious. It's just cinnamon, agave, and tequila. That's why it's so light and so smooth. It is every tequila lover's dream. And if you're not a fan of tequila, hey, Hot Cat Tequila will turn you into a fan of tequila. It turns any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. And once you try Hot Cat, you can't go back that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you ordered rounds of when you're trying to get the party started. No, turn up your party with Hot Cat Tequila. No watch party is complete without Hot Cat Tequila. Perfect way to pregame for all the big games, concerts, festivals, or any night on the town with family and friends. Hot Cat Tequila is best served cold for a quick round of shots, or you can just sip on the rocks. Visit cattequila.com. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila, or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Okay, so Juju Smith-Schuster, he decided to put out a Valentine's Day card via the Twitterverse. And Juju was taking a jab at James Bradbury, the cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles, who, by the way, got called for the holding call at the end of the game, and admitted, by the way, that he was a classy guy, admitted that it was holding and said, hey, I'm not trying to run from it. I take responsibility for what I did. And he has been really classy about it. I mean, he's a second-team All-Pro player, so he's a really good player this year. But the Juju Smith-Schuster Valentine's Day card read, and I guess he was feeling himself. He had just earned $1 million bonus by hitting incentives, so he's feeling really good about himself. And he tweeted out, Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, with a heart emoji. The caption saying, I'll hold you when it matters most. To and from. He had a picture of James Bradbury there.
Yeah.
I'll hold you when it matters most. Yeah, this lit a firestorm, if you will, of responses to Juju Smith-Schuster. A.J. Brown had one saying, first off, congratulations. Y'all deserve it. This is lame. You was on the way out of the league before Mahomes resurrected your career on your one-year deal, TikTok boy. He admitted that he grabbed you, but don't act like you're that or ever was. But congratulations again. Bunch of emojis. All right.
Yeah.
Is he out of line here, gentlemen?
Yeah, that's too much.
This is the NBAification of the NFL, though. This is usually stuff that happens in the NBA where these spats and these beefs end up playing out on social media through burner accounts and stuff like that. Now you're starting to see it at the NFL level.
Yeah, he needed to move along, man. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to go out there like he said. Dude admitted it after the game. He said, I was hoping that they would pass. And they called it, so I'm guilty. But for Juju, that is petty.
That's petty.
That is straight up petty for you to do that. Yeah, you had a good game, but hey, they right. TikTok boy, you was on your way out the league until they resurrected your career because he wasn't that great this year with them, I didn't think. So, but as a Cowboy fan, I was hoping he would come to the Cowboys this year.
Hey, man, look, the rule with things like this, if you text that to your friends and you be like, hey, man, this is funny,
Don't
right?
put it on social.
And yeah, you don't put it on social because then you're calling him out and he's like, look, everyone's going to tag him in it and then he's got to see it. And then you're like, I didn't want him to see it. I'm not trying to take a shot at him. I just thought it was funny. But now I got to take a shot at a guy, and now it's a fight, and I didn't want to fight.
And dude
I
already
just want to
feels
make a joke.
bad. You know he feels bad.
So you're like,
terrible.
so if you would have just texted that to his buddies and been like, "Happy Valentine's Day," his buddies would have laughed. He would have had a laugh. You could have got all the satisfaction without having to try and shoot a shot at the guy.
I agree. Yeah, because, and I'm not trying to get deep into it because I don't want to make it too much of a thing, but you know, as being a former athlete yourself, Harge, that James Bradbury right now is in a dark place. It is.
He's over there with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in that dark. He's in a dark retreat right now.
And he'll come out of it. Athletes do. You bounce back. That's part of it.
That's part of the struggle.
That's part of that struggle. But when you believe that you are the biggest reason, not the only reason, but one of the biggest reasons that your team lost the game, Hart has been there. I'm sure I've been there.
For sure. I threw balls into the stand.
Yeah, exactly.
And lost the game.
It's a little, it's depression you go through. It's a really, you just feel really bad about it. And I'm sure he's going through something like that. That's why Patrick's point about the social media angle of it. Yeah, that's a violation of the G code a little bit. You didn't have to do that.
That is definitely a violation.
Because it is funny. So I mean, I'm not taking away from the joke. It's a funny punchline. But you as a player, as athlete to athlete, you got to understand how devastated that guy is.
Oh, for sure.
You know he's devastated.
This is the wrong time to take that jab.
And we've been seeing like
such
good sportsmanships on both sides of this after the game. Like everything seemed pretty. Everyone was like, you know what, man, it was a good game. Everything seemed nice, and then this comes out. You're like, everyone was being nice.
Everybody was kind of. You're right.
Everybody
about that.
was playing.
That's
nice.
a great point.
Both teams like really did things well.
Yeah, even the video of Jalen Hurts when Nick Sirianni tries to get a middle finger to the crowd and pulling down his hand. Like, nah, man.
Come on, man. Act
Keep
like
it classy
you've been
here.
somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're right. I think this kind of ignited the Eagles players anyway, because they started sitting back, video of him getting hit and all kind of stuff. They went back and forth, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
with you. I'm definitely with you with that.
Yeah, it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It's funny.
For sure.
Hey,
Well,
but,
they say,
hey, good on the teammate for coming out and be like, look, you don't have Bad Bear, you don't have to fight this battle.
we got you.
We got your back.
We
We
got
know
your
that it
back.
wasn't your fault that we lost. Like we all messed up plays.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I exactly because like I said, as an athlete, I know he took it hard. As a DB,
Oh,
I was sitting,
yeah.
I was like, oh man, that's brutal.
Yeah, you don't not take it hard when you
Brutal.
come out and have already accepted that you did it.
Yeah.
Like that's hard because that's not even you're going through denial of being like,
Yep.
oh no, that was a bad. You shouldn't have called that or whatever. You're already at a point where you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be bad.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I give him props too for saying, yeah, I grabbed him.
Yep.
It was bad as a bad play. I shouldn't have done it.
Because most of the time, you already know what they talking about. Man, what did they call that for? Man, I had good coverage. I was where I was supposed to be. I was behind the line. You know, there were so many things. He was like, nah, man, I did that.
Yeah, we've seen DBs, and Chelsea, I'm a DB, so
Yeah.
I already know we're all guilty of it. DBs, you got video of them interfering or holding, and then they still throw their hands up when the flag comes. Like, what? Me? Oh, come on, ref! Like,
Or
you-
the incomplete pass, and they're like, no, not this way, baby.
Yeah,
Not this way.
But it's like you
dog, you got a
obviously,
penalty, dog.
you obviously committed a penalty. Why you acting like you didn't commit the penalty?
Exactly.
Like you ain't. Yeah, trust me. You're not doing a great job of acting here. You're not gonna get that Oscar. Nobody's on your side with that one. But I mean, as I said, Juju, I thought was, I don't know, for some reason I thought Juju was classier than that, but I guess not. He is a TikTok guy.
Yeah, I was finna say.
He's a social media clout hound.
He hangs out with Jackson Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? That's what they doing.
Yeah.
He got kicked out of locker rooms in Pittsburgh. So I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. And that's a classy locker room.
Yeah.
Kicked out Antonio Brown before he melted down. They
Yep.
knew. They saw it coming.
They
Yeah.
seen
They saw it
They
coming. They were like,
put the phone down.
Yeah.
You know that guy at the party when you're all having fun at a party and some guy's like, let's take pictures. And you're like, whoa.
well, that's what Antonio Brown did. Remember, he did the halftime speech they were trying to give, and he tried
Yeah.
to Facebook Live it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
And
it's
it's like,
like-
thing you're like, man, we're all having fun. We don't need to.
No.
We're one mistake away from that being Exhibit A. So hey, you need to put
Yeah.
that camera down.
And Mike Tomlin, of all head coaches, not
Yep.
the guy you want to be putting on social media
No.
during a locker room
No.
speech. He's just
Right.
not that kind of
No,
dude.
he is not that dude that you need to have
Yeah.
out there cussing in front of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Nick
Yeah.
Sirianni, maybe. Nick Sirianni might make you do. He might let you do it.
Oh, he
Yeah.
might tell you to pull the camera up.
Exactly. Yeah,
Hey,
he's not-
hey,
yeah.
you live
Because he's
yet?
going to be flipping people off the
He's gonna be
entire time.
WWE style. We
Yeah.
live. Let's go then, baby. I wanted to say this.
He definitely going to cut a promo. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know your audience there. All right, we come back. We'll get into, you know what? You go behind the burnt orange curtain. We got to talk about some Texas football news, notes, and nuggets. Their top 10 in SP Plus if you care. We'll talk about the impact freshman. Is Sark on the hot seat next season? I know, crazy article. And a good player, DB, for them that may be missing the spring because of an injury. All of those news, notes, and nuggets and more right here coming up on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Arch here, and I want to talk to you about Quick Roofing. How often do you think about your roof? Probably when it rains, probably from this bad weather that we just had, and you probably realize, hey, I might have some damage. Do yourself a favor and let somebody come out and check it out. And check out my friends over at Quick Roofing. Go to quickroofing.com. You're going to have a lot of people that are coming by that are going to come and talk to you, but they're not from here. You want to deal with some people that are very local, and they can help you out. Here's some of the reasons why you should use Quick Roofing. They have a great reputation of customer service, and they've taken care of their customers for years. You get a free no obligation inspection. You get 7-year workmanship warranty. Quick Roofing is fully insured and have all state and local licenses. Quick Roofing doesn't even require any money up front until 100% completion and, of course, 100% satisfaction. Quick Roofing also requires that a project manager is on every job site, ensuring that a customer is getting everything that they were promised. So what are you waiting for? Reach out today and get that free inspection. Go to quickroofing.com today. That is quickroofing.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie, and the movie Footloose. You probably guessed it already. This is from the most iconic scene of the movie, correct?
Yeah, I mean, this song is Footloose.
This is Footloose.
This song is called Footloose.
That's all. Yeah, I mean, it's back when they actually made music specifically themed for the movies, like even naming
100%.
songs. Yeah, naming songs after the damn
Yeah,
movie.
and Kenny
title.
Loggins tried to do all of them, but
hey, man, he made a lot of cash back then,
Yeah,
man.
he
was
did.
one
he
of-
had Top Gun, he had Danger Zone and Top Gun.
he was a go-to
He
guy
had
for those
All Right
movies.
for Caddyshack. I feel like he had some more too, but
I was saying he was a go-to guy. He was like, can we get Kenny?
Yeah.
Hey,
Is
can we
Kenny
get Loggins?
available? Is Kenny available?
Is Kenny available for this one?
Yeah.
There you go. My man Patrick did a great job with midweek movie music. You also can be a part of the show, Specs text line. It's been lit all day. We appreciate your participation on the Specs text line. 512-337-3776. You also hit us up via Twitter. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. Harge at Hardball Harge. And my man Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. I got a couple of, not random stories, but a few items that I want to hit here that are Longhorn related items that I want to get to. We'll also get to some NBA news, notes, and nuggets next segment. I'm talking about the Mavs, actually Spurs and Rockets. All of those teams are in action tonight, so we'll talk some NBA coming up next segment. Let's jump into these Longhorn related topics. There are a couple of these things I want to hit really quickly. And some I'm sure Longhorns don't care about at all, and some I think they probably care about more than others. So this article from ESPN recently listed coaches they believe are on the hot seat.
Yeah.
And it's Adam Rittenberg, so I'll give him credit, or at least let you know who you can send
Who you
your
can go
complaints to.
after.
Yeah, send your complaints to these people. ESPN writer listed Coach Sark as a coach to keep an eye on the coaching hot seat, which, by the way, let me preface our conversation by saying I think it's ridiculous.
Right. We all think it's ridiculous.
Unless he ends up going 5-7. If he goes 5-7, yeah.
Yeah.
On it,
Game changes
hot
then.
seat gonna be it's gonna be in fuego.
Yeah.
and this is what I told Harge is Sark is not on the hot seat until Archie Manning is not good. Until Arch Manning is not good at football. Basically, he's got through Quinn Ewers, and if Quinn Ewers not good, then they're like, okay, put in Arch Manning. And if Arch Manning is not good,
Then this guy
then
so
it's
good.
Sark's problem, and they got to get rid of him. But until then,
But all right, like I said, you have a disastrous season.
yeah, you have
Yeah,
but
yeah,
in that
yeah.
season,
But
that would
nobody
be,
assumes that's gonna
but
happen.
that would
though.
be putting Arch in too. Because if you start to have a disastrous season, then you probably have to put in Arch because everyone will
That's
catch
a
you.
good
and go,
point. If the Quinn experiment is not working,
Then you put in Arch,
That's a
and
good
then if he's no good and
He's
you're
always
still
last.
losing,
yeah.
then it's like, okay, well, now you said you've recruited great guys, but you clearly can't use them. I don't think that happens, by the way.
I totally agree with you. If he doesn't have some crazy season that crazy regression of some kind,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I love the way you stated. He's got till Arch looks bad. It's like Arch looking bad too. Man, this dude know what the hell he's doing. Get him out of here.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how far away he is from the hot seat, though. Is he is 2 top recruits away, being bad, from really being fired, and that's a hard thing to do in one season.
Yeah, no, I totally.
It could
agree.
happen, but it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is a hard thing to do. So this is what Adam Rittenberg writes. Sarkisian is 13-12 at Texas, continuing a head coaching tenure. No 10-win seasons, only one 9-win season that hasn't come close to what he accomplished as a coordinator. He signed through 2026 and would be owed $12.6 million if fired this year. But Texas has the funds if the team backslides this year. The arrival of decorated quarterback Arch Manning helps Sarkisian's chances of coaching in 2024. What could hurt him? 2 attractive replacement candidates within the state in Sonny Dykes, who just took TCU to the national title game, and UTSA's Jeff Traylor is mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
I know Jeff Traylor's a hell of a coach. We're all fans of Jeff Traylor. But Texas does return a lot of starters. It mentions that 10 of those on offense, 17 of 22 starters returning overall. And I agree with both of you guys. I don't think that Sark is on the hot seat. I think they want him to be their head coach when they're coaching in the SEC. That's why he's building this team from the inside out, trying to play bully ball, wants to play the type of football that in the line of scrimmage league that the SEC is, that Texas can thrive in that circumstance, in that ecosystem, I should say. My one thing about Sark is I am a little concerned this year if he doesn't, 2 things. If he doesn't forge or create or build a sufficient identity after losing Bijan and Rojo, he essentially has had training wheels for the first 2 years he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking about the best damn training wheels in the country.
Yeah.
Talking about Bijan Robinson, the best running back in the country, and Roschon Johnson, I don't know, 8th or 9th best running back in the country potentially. I mean, he got both those guys might be top 10 running backs in the country this year. I mean, that's how good they were. I'm not making it up. Pro Football
I really
Focus.
thought that too.
Pro Football Focus ranked them both in the top 10.
And I'm not being hyperbolic either about it.
Yeah.
Those dudes were balling, and you gave the numbers. Broken
unbelievable.
tackles, they were the best.
They were the best. Pro Football Focus record in the Pro Football Focus era for broken tackles or forced missed tackles is Bijan's 104, I believe. And Rojo, over the last 2 years, highest broken tackle rate in the country. Yes, higher than Bijan Robinson. Actually, an average more yards after contact per rush than Bijan Robinson. Those guys were special. But getting back to it, so now you don't have those training wheels anymore.
Yeah.
And we all thought we'd get a sneak peek at the new identity of the Texas offense versus Washington in the bowl game. And honestly, it looked like an offense without an identity. Exactly what it looked like.
And the only reason why I would give him a little bit of a pass is because after the game, we realized that Jonathan Brooks was dealing with a double hernia. He was gonna have hernia surgery. So I'm like, okay, maybe he knew that going into the game, and maybe they found out, and he was like, well, I'm not gonna put this kid through this right now.
Totally
we got a whole offseason, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
Could be.
That was his only saving grace on that one.
Well, what happened to Jaden Blue? Jaden Blue can't play either?
I think Jaden Blue was at that point where he was like, I ain't going in there. What you doing to me, Doc?
Really?
Because you got to remember, he told us, this is Sark's words, that he was going to play Jaden Blue.
He said he's going to play. All 3 backs were going to play.
And we didn't see but 1. 2.
And you saw 2.
That's
you saw
it.
Jonathan Brooks.
Keelan Robinson
but my thing
started.
was, why not play all 3?
Like you said you were going to.
Yeah, because then if one of them's hurt,
Yes.
he doesn't have to play as much. You don't
Exactly.
have to put too much of a burden on them.
So
you
I
play
get your
all
point.
3.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why he didn't play all 3.
The only thing that I could think is that there might have been something internal for Jaden Blue, because we did hear that there was reports that he may have entered he was thinking about entering the transfer
After the
portal right
game.
after. So it may have been something where internally the night before it happened. It sometimes happens at bowl games. That's a possibility. But I've seen no reports of it, so I don't want to put that on the young man that happened. But it makes 0 sense.
I think he was upset because he didn't play. I think he was
Yeah.
upset
I mean,
because
that
coach
makes-
said I was going to play, and then the other guy in front of me got an injury, and you just started a utility back in the backfield, and I'm not playing. I think man, I'm going in the transfer report. I think that's what it was about, but I could be off too. I don't know. That's just me speculating.
All 3 of us can agree it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's what we can agree upon.
Yeah, it did exactly. Totally agree. Yeah. We'll agree to disagree, but we can agree on that for sure. It just didn't make a lot of sense, and I love what he did with Quinn Ewers. I thought Quinn Ewers actually did improve and actually looked like one of his best games as a passer. So I like what they did with him, but you still need to find an identity for this offense. That's something you do as well, if not better than everybody else. And then number 2, I got to see you start winning the chess match within the game against good coaches. A good coach, by definition, is a coach that can win at least 60% of their games. That's what the College Football Hall of Fame, that's their criteria. The reason Mike Leach, right now, they're thinking about changing the rule. He's at 59.5% winning percentage over his career. The late, great Mike Leach, rest in peace. And the College Football Hall of Fame is saying, we don't know if we're going to let him in because our bar is 60%. You got to be at least a 60% win coach to get up in here. And everybody's saying, well, if Mike Leach ain't in your Hall of Fame sucks. So round up.
Right.
I totally agree with that, by the way. But I digress. Getting back to it, Sark's winning percentage versus coaches who win at least 60% of their games, 40%. He's winning 40% of those games.
Yeah.
Got to do better. At Texas, you got to do better.
And that's why people keep looking at his 13-12 record, and maybe that's what led to this conversation. Maybe that's what brought it up. Now you got all your recruits. You got everything you should possibly need. Now you got to go up there and get it taken care of.
No excuses.
No, yeah.
No, I totally get it. Yeah, he's got the roster turned over sufficiently for him, and this is a big year for Sark, man, especially because the Big 12, there doesn't seem to be a dominant team in the Big 12 returning.
Yeah.
There's some good teams, but no dominant team. It is there for the taking, and hopefully Texas can take it.
Please take it.
Please take it. Needs that good mojo and momentum going into the SEC play. Okay.
Yeah.
This is this actually relates to the conversation we were just having about those running backs. So there was a 247 Sports article about they made an all-impact team, essentially freshman coming in 2023. He will make an immediate instant impact. Texas got 2 of them on here. One on defense, one on offense. The one on offense, I think, is more important than the one on defense potentially. And the one on defense is a damn good player. They got Cedric Baxter as the running back that is picked to have the most immediate impact in college football for Texas. He's the number one running back in the country coming in the 2023 class. As we just talked about, yes, you got Jonathan Brooks. We like Keelan Robinson. He's been more of a utility back for them, a hybrid back, if you will. Jaden Blue's still there. Hell, they just moved Savion Red to running back, too, because they wanted some more bodies there. From what I'm hearing, though, this kid has the talent, the upside. If he ends up coming on campus and ends up getting reps early on, he could end up laying claim to that position as the top or starting running back for Texas by midseason. He's got that kind of ceiling.
It may be earlier than that.
It may be earlier than that.
It may be earlier than that because
true.
if you start looking at some of the videos and looking at his body, you know, the one thing about a lot of football players nowadays is their bodies are in the best shape when they get to school. You know, back in the day, some guys had to get into college football shape. Now all these guys are in that type of shape. So that's why they can come in and be an impactful type of player once they get here. You know, we always talk about the fact of Ricky Williams and what we saw with Cedric Benson. When Cedric Benson came to the University of Texas, we knew that dude was a grown man when he got there. He was built different.
Yeah.
And we saw that with Bijan. Bijan was built different.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, and Rod, you can speak to this as well, because I know when I played in professional baseball, the speed of the game was the biggest challenge for most. When you get there and you see it, it's different because you had different guys on your college team that were elite players. You were going against them every day. So you playing corner, you got up to speed quicker than most people did. Especially if you're at one school and then you go up against a school like this school where these guys are all thoroughbreds and you come in there and it's like, man, this is a lot faster than what I see in practice.
Yep.
And that's what happens with a lot of these young players. But when you're at a school like Texas, Alabama, Georgia, you getting quality reps every single day. So the speed of the game is not going to affect you. Speed of practice is what affects you. So then you get it up, you get to that point where it's like, okay, now I'm ready to go. So that's why some of these guys can adapt quickly and some can't adapt quickly.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Football, you know, one of those rare sports you practice more than you play, so you got to get really good at practice.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to practice and learn how to become an elite practice player. It will definitely translate to you to the games. And one of the other things I liked about Texas last year, and everybody knows I'm a big advocate of two back sets, 20 personnel, 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight ends, 2 backs, 0 tight ends. And by the way, last year, 21 personnel was their most effective personnel package. Highest yards per attempt, highest yards per play, highest explosive play rate, all of that. You're easily, when you had Rojo, Bijan, and Keelan Robinson out there, some combination of those two with JT Sanders at tight end and Jay Witt and X-Man at your wide receivers, you were as effective as any time last year in any personnel grouping or formation. The 21 personnel, if they're going to use it this year, obviously you won't have Rojo and you won't have Bijan there, and I do wonder if you'll see it at all. We didn't see it not one down of 2 tailback sets in the bowl game. It was their most explosive and their most efficient and effective personnel package during the season, and we didn't see it once when Rojo and Bijan were gone. That's concerning to me because I wonder, and not concerning, it's just interesting, because I wonder now if Sark is completely changing the offense, building it around specific skill sets and traits of the players he currently has, or if there are concepts that are going to carry over from one year to the next.
Yeah.
Because it seems like that was just a Bijan Rojo thing then.
Yeah, because it didn't. Yeah, because it did not work after they were gone.
And that didn't work. He didn't use it.
Right.
He didn't use it at all. He didn't use it one time in the bowl game, and prior to him coming to Texas, he didn't. He used it at Atlanta when he was transitioning the Shanahan offense to his own offense, and he used 2 tailback sets then, so it made sense. But he was doing it for a purpose, and he didn't use it much at Alabama, and he started using it here at Texas in 2022, but not so much in 2021. And maybe it's because I kept yelling and screaming about it in the offseason, but he finally started using it more. And I'm thinking maybe that was specific to the players and the personnel that he had, not to him conceptually as a part of his offense and his ideology. And that's what I'm wondering.
Well, when you right now when you talked about it and the way it's being presented, he's got a lot of adjustments that he needs to make, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Conceptually,
I think so. Yes, I agree.
conceptually.
Yes,
I mean,
he does.
because there's a lot of things that we've looked at and you've broken it all down, and you're like, that doesn't look like the way that he normally would draw something up. And now we're going to have to really see it because you're going to have youth in the backfield.
Yeah.
You got a quarterback that has already gone through the fire, dealt with an injury.
Yeah.
You got a wide receiver that some are waiting to see if he's going to be the top wide receiver in the country again. You brought in a lot of talent. You got an experienced offensive line. So there should not be the only setback will be the running game. But you got experience on the line now.
You got a line. I gotta say, you're supposed to be anybody can run behind that old line.
Should be.
That's how it's supposed to
Should be.
to make up for. Because listen, the truth is, and I said this last year, and I was upset to be correct and accurate in the bowl game.
Yep.
You don't replace talent like Bijan and Rojo and think your offense is just going to go about, operating the same as it was.
Right.
Because those guys take a lot of plays that would have been negative plays and losses, and they turn them into positive plays.
Yep.
And I could say, honestly, eye test alone, just watching film, I'd say there are 6 or 7 of those plays a game.
Yep.
Where Bijan and Rojo broke a tackle in the backfield, made 4-5 guys miss, and turned nothing into something. And
Right.
you guys remember it too.
Yep.
Now, in the bowl game, that running game, that's how it looks when you don't have those cheat codes in the backfield
Yeah.
that can turn a bad block of a young offensive lineman into a spectacular play. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So for Sark, that's what you got to deal with. Now, is Jonathan Brooks going to be good? Of course he's going to be good.
Yes.
Is, Cedric Baxter going to be good? Of course they're going to be good. Are they going to be Bijan Rojo good?
Yep.
I don't know. That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's middle first round good. They don't even draft running backs in the first round anymore. You got to be really good.
Yeah.
You got to be generational good for me to consider draft the running back first round. Now, everybody says he's going in the first round. That's how good he is. Are these guys that good? I don't know if they're that good.
Well,
They're going to be good, but that
they're going to
good?
have to push it. They're going to have to push it.
I
They're going to
know.
have to try to show it.
Cedric
Yeah.
Baxter's number 1 running back in the country, just like Bijan. But guys, y'all saw Bijan. That guy's an alien. We
Yeah.
all know.
Yeah.
There are running backs, and there are running backs, and there's that guy.
When you looked at at Cedric Baxter's film, what did you think?
I
Right
like
away.
him. I think he's great. I think
Yeah.
he's really good. He's not talented as Bijan.
Right.
Sorry. He's not
Okay.
as talented as Bijan. Even when I was watching Bijan's film, he's not. Sorry. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at something else. He's not. And maybe he will, but he's not.
Right.
Period.
Okay.
But Rojo wasn't either.
Yeah.
He was a quarterback coming in.
He was a quarterback
and turned
coming
into a
in.
damn good player. So it's I'm just saying.
It's all about development again.
You miss that guy in the bowl game, you're going to miss him again.
Right.
That running game is going to miss him. That identity of that offense needs to evolve into something else.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly. Because you don't have much time. You're on the road game 2.
Yeah.
And going up against that monster that is trying to let you know, hey, we got out of there lucky. We're not going to be lucky again this time.
Yeah, and it's got to be. I think you're right. I think the O-line's got to be the one
Yep.
to lead the way. If the
Absolutely.
O-line is the strength of that offense, I
Yep.
think it'll help Quinn Ewers, who may be struggling or inconsistent, but also will help that running game too. The defensive player to make this list for Texas is, you probably could guess it, Anthony Hill, the
Yeah.
linebacker,
Yeah.
number 1 linebacker in the country.
Mr. Impactful.
Yeah, he's definitely going to make an impact early on. They can use him in a ton of different ways, and I think he'll probably end up giving them starting reps by mid to late season too.
Yeah.
At the line, because you're missing DeMarvion Overshown. You got Jalen Ford coming back, but you know Jalen Ford's leaving after this year,
Right.
so you already want to start grooming the next group of linebackers, and he's it.
He is, yeah.
It's it.
He's the starter and the finisher.
Exactly. That's it right there.
Everything goes around him.
No question. One other Longhorn-related story, since we're on the topic of talking Texas football. I know Longhorn fans are very upset about the SP Plus because it always just teases Longhorn fans.
Yeah, it gets him too excited.
It gets
Yeah.
it gets Longhorn
Yeah,
fans
too
way
excited,
too
man.
excited, and I totally get it. SP Plus, it's a cumulative predictive stat by ESPN that combines returning production and recruiting success and recruiting numbers with your recent history and a lot of different stuff. So it's a very cumulative stats, a lot of different variables thrown in there. They got Texas at number 9 this year. Texas was like top 10 last year too, though.
Yeah, I was going to say,
So,
weren't we near the top last year?
And the year before that, Probably too. Texas is always really high in SP Plus because it looks at all of these different factors like recruiting numbers.
Yeah.
It looks at returning production. And Texas, we all look at it. Theoretically, Texas should be one of the championship contenders every year based on those variables. But we know talent development and coaching, that's something you cannot really quantify or account for in these predictive stats. Texas number 14 ranked offense, number 16th ranked defense in this latest SP Plus. So there you go.
I think the defense is going to be even better too. I think. There was some good pieces that are going to be missing, but I think they're replacing them with some talented guys and some guys that got a lot of reps last year that are going to be on the field as well.
Very true.
So there was a lot of guys that needed to grow up, and I think the biggest loss for me is going to be DeMarvion Overshown. I think that was the one that is going to stand out the most for me on the defensive side of the ball. Because you do have Jalen Ford. He's going to be able to kind of lead and direct. But we saw that in the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
That sideline that DeMarvion was playing with, the other linebackers didn't get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
They weren't playing at that level.
No, you just got natural speed.
Yeah.
You can't teach that. That's something you can't really teach and develop. Guys just got to be able to run, and DeMarvion Overshown, Demo could run.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that's why Anthony Hill's so big for them. That's why he's going to play immediately, and the sooner he ends up, playing at a starter type level, the sooner he's going to lock down that job next to Jalen Ford.
Yeah.
All right. We would get to the Jalen Guilbeau news, which is those who don't know, there was a report about Jalen Guilbeau that he could end up missing the spring. He's dealing with an injury, which is nothing serious at all. But that is also a report that was out there that he could end up missing spring camp due to injury. And usually during the spring, for guys who have proven themselves, I should say, and he's still going to compete for nickel or the dime back. Jahdae Barron, I believe he's going to be the starting nickel. But if he, ends up injured and not participating in the spring, I still think he'll be a guy that will be in the mix for those sub packages once the fall comes up. So that is Inside Texas, by the way. I believe it's Eric Naleen reporting that he may have some missed spring practices due to a knee injury that he's dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to some NBA news, notes, and nuggets. We'll come back here, talk about the Mavs, working on LaMarcus Aldridge. Also, they got a huge game tonight coming up versus the Nuggets, who are one of the better teams in the NBA right now. Spurs and Rockets also in action. We'll throw all that into the topic conversation as well. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn, Rod Babers right here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Dr. Greg Eckert and his wonderful team, because they are fantastic. And no matter what your concerns are about your dental health and your dental hygiene, Dr. Greg Eckert and his team are the perfect team to handle all of your dental care needs. It doesn't matter if it's just general dentistry or teeth whitening, dentures, porcelain, crowns, veneers, dental implants, full mouth reconstruction, even root canal therapy, whatever it takes to make sure you're getting the best quality dental care available. That's what Dr. Greg Eckert and his team are all about. As a matter of fact, if you're having dental anxiety, they specialize in easing your dental anxiety. Also, Dr. Greg Eckert, Dr. You, which is appropriate because he's all about you, all about the patient. He also is always on the cutting edge of the technological advances in dentistry. And right now, he can give you a brand new smile in just one day. That's right, permanently secured to your dental implants. You spend no time without teeth. You'll get temporary fixtures and complete your permanent smile, and you'll smile again with confidence and eat freely without pain or discomfort. We're talking about a lifelike permanent solution. So if you've been told your teeth need to be replaced, call Dr. Greg Eckert today and learn about this revolutionary alternative to dentures, a brand new smile in just one day. New teeth in one day. I know it sounds too good to be true. It's not. It's just Dr. You. So give him a call, 512-345-3166, or visit dreckert.com, DRUECKERT.com. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's with my man Patrick. He's plays jams from a soundtrack of a movie. We're supposed to gather clues and hints from those selections, and that's supposed to lead us to the feature of midweek movie music, which Harch got, by the way, and it was Footloose. So today
Everybody cut loose.
we're jamming songs from the Footloose soundtrack. Hopefully the Mavs are playing with some Footloose energy, because they're going to need it tonight
Yeah, they are.
versus the Nuggets.
Well, it just came out that Kyrie is not playing tonight.
Come on, man.
Yeah, imagine that.
Load
Kyrie
management
being
already?
out. Already.
We low 4 games in, we load
Exactly.
management. Come on, man.
Had to shut it down.
I was looking forward to seeing. That was a nice test of going up against, because on the road, right, against Denver. And the Nuggets are just, they are playing out of this world right now. They're just playing really, really good basketball.
Yep.
And I thought, man, it'd be a really good test, because the Nuggets, I believe, have the best offensive rating currently in the NBA. And the Mavs, in the last 2 games especially, they've had the worst defense arguably in the league since Luka and Kyrie. I'm not joking. Against
Their
Minnesota,
efficiency is so bad.
they allowed an offensive rating to Minnesota of 131. They allowed an offensive rating to Sacramento of 126. Both of those were losses. The best offensive rating in the NBA is Denver at 118.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They're not very good defensively. And you played the sound earlier about
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd.
Isn't that crazy?
It hurts my heart to hear Jason Kidd talk about, we just going to try to outscore everybody now. And I'm just like, you used to be good on defense. You used to preach defense.
But the organization went a different way.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that sounded audio is part frustration, part him just being a realist and going, man, we can try to play defense. I ain't got the horses to do it.
Yeah, I don't have the personnel.
I ain't got the personnel to do it. He's basically siding with your Dwight Powell take here, Harge. Like, you know what? That guy's not gonna help me. He's a wet blanket in the middle of the damn floor, and he's not gonna really be able to defend the basket at all.
Yeah.
So he's going playing a lot of small ball. Obviously tonight that won't be the case because Kyrie Irving's not playing, and deciding, you know what? We're just gonna try to outscore teams, and if we can't outscore them, then that's the only option we got.
Yeah.
We're going to lose that game.
Yeah, it's unbelievable when you sit back and you look at how basketball is being played, not just in Dallas, but overall. Some teams just really don't care about defense. And when defense used to be some of the calling cards for a lot of guys in the league. And even when you're on a winning team, you do need some guys to actually try to play some sort of defense, whether it's a big man in the middle and the lack thereof. How about stopping somebody on the perimeter where they can't get there? You know what I'm saying? It's just unbelievable that the Dallas Mavericks go out and get Kyrie, which I thought they should. I thought they needed to go get another piece to kind of help Luka, but they still need that other part of it to say, those two guys play zero defense, and you have nobody else to even remotely try. And to your point, Finney Smith, Patrick, he was the only person that really enjoyed playing defense.
Yeah, Bullock can play a little bit, but Finney Smith was the guy.
Right.
3-and-D, baby.
And then I was thinking, if you weren't going to do that, you could have went and got a guy like Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder is somebody that plays defense. He's a frustrating player to go against because he's going to make you work hard at it.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's really what the Mavs got to figure out. And by the way, that's what Jason Kidd said. Now that we play, he said, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that we had a supercharged, dynamic offense. They know they got that. Luka and Kyrie still having some chemistry issues, but no question, those guys, they had 69 points combined in the last loss versus Minnesota, and that came down to the wire. The only reason they didn't get a last shot up is because they were both deciding they wanted to play unselfishly, and neither one of them wanted to take the last shot.
You take it. I got it. You take it.
So
you take it.
They'll figure that out, but right now, man, it's going to be hard to score with them. But tonight they got to play the Denver Nuggets, and they'll probably get used and abused now.
Yep. Why would they get used and abused?
Because Jokic is in the middle.
There it is.
And they ain't got nobody to stop him.
They got Dwight Powell.
Come on, man.
Dwight Powell versus Jokic.
Yeah.
You said no body. There's a body there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a body there.
It's-
But if you want to write bulletproof vest on a sheet of paper, take your shot. I don't think it's gonna work.
yeah, because Boban in that game versus Minnesota. Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert. He was 9 of 9 actually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's crazy too. Oh, the reason I was thinking about Boban is because actually I saw the Rockets right? Didn't they sign Marjanovic?
I think he's been there, right?
Sorry. I thought I saw a random story about how they brought him back in or something. But I could be off about that. Anyway, I just read that, so I apologize. I'm getting off task here. But getting back, I want to get to the Spurs here while we got a little time. Spurs are playing right now. Patrick is our resident Spurs fan. Spurs playing the Hornets now. Hornets up 38-34. I did see that the Spurs made a signing, Patrick, and I want you to tell us why it's significant.
It is. By the way, Marjanovic was released to make all the trades they did. They did bring him back. So basically, it was a thing to.
Okay,
they just need to clear roster spaces to bring guys in, but then they're buying out John Wall. They're buying out other guys.
Are they going to buy him out too, or is he staying?
No, they're going to bring him back.
Okay.
But they had to clear out roster spots.
Okay,
Just think about the fact that they got to buy out John Wall after they got rid of him, after he sat there collecting checks, not even playing.
But then they got rid of Eric Gordon now too.
Yeah.
So they got rid of everybody.
They were like cleaning house.
No, but that was so you were right. He was waived and re-signed.
I saw it across my timeline. Sorry.
He was waived and re-signed. So that is correct. But Charles Bassey,
yes.
He's been playing really, really well for the Austin Spurs. He's played well for the San Antonio Spurs in games he came up. They get him for a 4-year, I believe, like $10.2 million deal.
Yep.
Which, I mean, that's a solid deal because you're never paying him, anything really against your cap. But you do have him locked up that if he turns out to be something good, then he's awesome. If not, you waive him, you take a little bit of a cap hit, but it's nothing major. And he is somebody that, in a league where there's not a lot of big guys, to have somebody that can score, can do a lot of things, spread the floor for you, and tries to play defense. He's not there yet, but you can try and train him over the next couple of years to get him in a place to be like, hey, man, you could be a really solid backup center in the league, but we just need you to figure out a few things. I think it's a great signing. He has been playing more and more for the Spurs.
Yep.
And there's things about how you can play in the NBDL versus how many games you can do in the G League versus the NBA and how many times you get called up. They could have just not had him in like 3 or 4 more games. They said, forget that. We're getting him long term. We like what he can do. So I like the signing because anytime you can bring somebody to have a little bit more consistency on your team and go, okay, we're going to have this guy for a while. And they did it basically with Zach Collins, where they signed him to a 2-year deal for not much, saying maybe he'll be the guy. I think that experiment is played out enough that they're now moving on to the Bassey experiment.
Well, it's a typical Spurs experiment. Right, yeah. It's like a young guy, just raw, but he's got a ton of upside too. And the Spurs, they're on how long is this losing streak? Is it 13 games?
Oh man, you know what?
I think it's 13. Is it 13 games?
I'm proud of them for really keeping the right objectives in mind.
I believe it just tied their franchise record, but they're trying to lose. So I guess this is what they're trying to do. They're tanking for, what do you call it, winless for?
Yeah, winless for Wimbayama.
Yeah, Wimbayama.
Well, they're 13
game losing streak, yes.
Tied the franchise record. So I don't know how you feel about the Patrick. I'm a Texans fan, so I remember you got to watch more of these games than I did as a Texans fan. So I think it's hard to watch your team tank as an NBA fan because you watch a lot more games.
Yeah. It is, but I honestly don't mind it that much because they do have a lot of young, exciting guys. They just don't play defense in the second half. Yeah. That's basically what it comes down to. And so the end of games are always like, hey, we're kind of in it. We're kind of in it. And then that fourth quarter, the other team puts up 60 points and they lose.
In Pop's face.
Yeah.
His face
but they're good. Like, Keldon Johnson's fun to watch.
He ain't even mad anymore. Pop don't even really get mad no more.
You can tell he's not mad. He's got that zen thing
This is what
going.
you don't want to be Orlando. You don't want to be Houston, a team that is tanking for the 3rd straight year.
Agreed.
And getting top picks and then still being bad.
Still showing no
and
promise.
going like, oh, no, we have to get 10 first-round picks to be able to. You're like, that's not how you build a team, man.
Yeah, you're
just cashing in on the NBA royalties at this point.
It doesn't even feel like the Houston Rockets have tanked.
Yeah.
They're just bad. They're unwatchable.
Yeah, I'm saying to be that bad even after you've already.
Orlando's not good either. Orlando has Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, who are both really good players, and they're still not trying to do anything. It's annoying to watch teams like that.
I got a lot of friends that are Spurs fans. You're one of them, Patrick. They're excited about Malachi Branham and his Branham and his February that he's been having. Apparently,
he's been playing very well.
In February, he's been killing it.
He'll be good. He's another guy. It's a good pickup for them, but he's a guard, and so guards for the Spurs, they kind of rotate through a lot of these guys because unless you're a star, you're just too expensive to keep most of the time.
Yeah.
Anybody under 6'8", it's pretty easy to find a replacement for in the
That's
NBA.
fair.
It's just that the taller you are, the harder it is. That's why you want to bring in a Bassie.
Right.
And Devontae Graham, who they just brought in, put up like 30 in his first game there, coming over from the Pelicans, who gave the Spurs picks to get rid of him.
Man, the Spurs, yes, that's why they got all them damn picks.
Yeah.
Spurs got a ton
They
of
got
picks,
four second-round picks for giving them Josh Richardson and taking back the Devontae Graham contract because he's still under contract guaranteed next year, and I think the third year is not guaranteed.
Man, Spurs. That's what I'm saying. It's just, they know even when they're tanking, you can still see the Spurs
Exactly.
out maneuvering other teams even while they're tanking. All right, we come back. We're gonna wrap it up. Put it in the oven right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie. Getting ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. Before we do, we'll let you know what's on tap. If you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com. You can catch up with them on the podcast page. Coming up next, we have the Flex coming up next.
It's a flex.
The Flex. They're going to have Coach Salazar,
Yes. Yep.
Westlake head coach on, and Brody Bueno on.
That's right.
Who is a Huddle linebacker.
That's right. That's right.
Really good player. He's going to join them on the Flex. You want to stick around for that. Zach Lucero, Cameron
Parker
as well.
And the seed.
And the Seed,
That's
Nolan
right.
Hogan. The
Nolan
Seed.
Hogan.
I didn't know
That's
he was
right.
participate. There you go. All right, what
That's
you got on tap?
I'm going to go to the crib and just kind of watch a little bit of basketball and do some stuff around the house. How about yourself?
I'm going to watch Your Honor. Great show, man,
I
on
still
Showtime.
got to watch that. I'll
Brian
give myself
Cranston.
some time this
Good
weekend.
stuff. What do you got on tap, Patrick?
We're actually going to go record, since we've been off for the last 3 weeks, going to record a little podcast at Instant Serious.
Nice.
To knock out some Super Bowl talk, NBA talk, all that stuff. So we're going to
My
record that
man.
tonight, and it'll be up on the webpage, hopefully by later tonight, if not tomorrow morning.
That's going to be a juicy one. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. Talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.